It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hansen. I'm here with the Tuckster, Dave Tuckman, and we're going to be playing a little $300 to $500 no-limit hold'em with 5-5 blinds. Dave, the chips that we use in this game are $5 yellow chips. And there it is, right there.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. You should put a bikini on and parade around with this thing.
We have and the $1 chips are blue chips that we use in this game, which are there's five.
There's five.
$1 chips.
Wow. Well, what happens if somebody gets a lot of chips? What do you use then?
Well, we have bigger chips here, but I don't know if we're going to go into that tonight. But I think we're going to keep it to the two chips we use
Ooh,
tonight.
the suspense.
So let's get to the table.
We're going to tease everybody with that, huh?
Let's go around and introduce the table.
Let's do that. And seat one, we've got Billy.
Betting 20.
Billy Boy, he's going to bet $20. We're going to leave you in suspense of what happened. Seat two, we've got Kyle. Kyle's obviously a familiar face on Live at the Bike. Seems like our Tuesday game is very familiar. I mean, it's almost like Gus lives in seat three on Tuesdays on Live at the Bike. And there he is, Gus. Seat four, we've got Hav. And Hav is a professional poker player. This guy has been playing. He'll play the biggest games we have at the casino, but he's been playing a lot of these smaller games. And the reason for it, he told me actually, he thought the 3 to 5 game, this game particularly, is kind of soft, and he feels like he can run it over. And if he gets a bad beat or two, he only loses $500 at the time, and he really feels like he can almost win the money risk-free. So we'll see how he plays tonight. Seat 5, we've got James. Good old James. Sporting the backwards visor look. I'm a big fan of that look. Seat 6, we got Kevin. Kevin's a good player as well. He's got that earring in the eyebrow look going. And Kevin is a solid player. Seat 7, we got Francois. And Francois has recently quit his job, and he is now a professional poker player, but he's not there. That's Edward, actually. Seat 8. Sporting the glasses.
Time. I'm sorry.
And seat 9, we've got Boston.
Great name.
And Boston can really mix it up. He's a 2+2er. He's an avid fan of the show.
Yeah.
And he can mix it up, but he's gotten a haircut today, so maybe he'll play it more tame.
Well, you were telling me earlier, this game probably is tougher than our $1,000 game in terms of what this lineup is.
Well, right now, yeah, I mean, if you were to look at this table here, and I don't want to get into this hand yet, but if you were to look at this table, seat 3 is pretty solid, seat 4 is solid, seat 6 is solid, seat 7 is solid, seat 9 is solid. And I'm not saying the other players aren't solid, I just don't know them as well.
Yeah.
But I've got 5 players in this game that are pretty solid, can mix it up, can make big laydowns, can bluff.
Of course, if you want to keep the show interactive like we always do, you can email us at live@thebike.com. You can also follow a thread that's started on the internet. Go to 2plus2.com spelled out. Click on forums, and then go under Tournament Poker, World Poker Tour, etc. And actually, they have had a thread over at Full Contact Poker and Daniel Negreanu's site recently. We don't really follow it as much because it goes in and out, but you might be able to check it out. There's Francois. Actually, there was a couple people that I guess were unhappy over there at Full Contact that we were talking about women too much last night. But, since this show is 95% men, I thought we kind of had fun with the game last night.
Yeah, interesting. They were upset we were talking about women?
There was just one particular guy.
The show should be entirely poker?
Yes.
Is that what he's saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Wonder if that guy has done anything 3 hours straight live in his life.
I just like to challenge somebody to do.
Right.
It's not just 3 hours live, because I could do one show of just poker. We do that often.
Right.
But do 3 hours of poker live, Monday through Friday, for a year straight.
Right.
And then try to just stick to poker.
Now, we had a little raise here by seat number 4, Harvey made it 30 to go with ace jack of hearts, and the flop comes 6-6 deuce here.
Well, it's not a bad flop for Hob. If your opponents did not start with a pocket pair, you're probably in the lead here.
Betting 70.
He's going to bet 70 here. It missed everyone. Again, the flop is 6-6 deuce.
And Hob is a real solid player. We like to call him Midnight.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Hob's game. I really am.
I was actually talking to George the Greek poker god, who's good friends with Hob, and I think that George and Hob over the last month or so had run really bad. And George was talking about how you were kind of saying in the beginning, I mean, I love it because if you run bad in the 5-10 game, you can step down to this game and still make a pretty healthy living.
Oh, yeah.
Almost risk-free, like you said.
I was talking to Hav. I mean, obviously it's not risk-free. Anytime you're playing poker, you're gambling a little bit. But Hav was saying how this game is a little bit soft, and he feels like he can win somewhere between, say, 400 and 1,400 without taking too much risk.
Well, and I'll get into that a little bit after this hand, because I'll tell you why. You know, the 5-10 game, Dave, you buy in for 2,000 in that game, and you take a bad beat, or you've got some sort of hand that's second best. You've down 2,000. But in the 3-5 game, if you lose a $2,000 pot, you've probably up 1,500 already to get your stack up that high.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that was George's there.
Yeah.
He said he's been taking a couple of bad beats, but he loses 500 here, 500
Right.
there. But then when he wins and he starts running it up, he's
Right.
up 1,500 or 1,600. It's really a great game. It's the best game in town, this game.
This pot was limped around here. Flop comes ace, king, 7 with 2 hearts. And Kevin, who's pretty solid out of there, seat 6. He's going to bet 20. He's got ace, 9. He has the best hand. As you can see, the percentages there. Over 65% to win the hand. Edward's got second pair. He folds out of seat 8, and he's going to take it down.
Now, you're going to see a lot of what I think. I'm expecting some really good poker tonight.
Yeah, again, I mean, this lineup is probably some of our best players here in the casino.
And it just shows there's so much you can learn from the show. Sometimes you watch a Friday night show with some of our live players.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll go, wow, man, I don't know how to play with a maniac.
Right.
Well, watch our Friday night show because you get plenty of experience watching that.
We had an email from Ken Prevost this afternoon congratulating, thought the card player interview at the circuit was great. And we had a couple other emails regarding the circuit, Mark Simpson and some other players. So you can check it out if you go to cardplayer.com, click on the circuit. We did an interview with Scott Huff for a good 45 minutes.
Now, this kind of game, if you're trying to figure out how to play a game like this now, and seat 8 Edward's going to raise it up with Queen 10 suited here.
Right.
You'll see a game that's played with pretty solid players that are all aware of what's going on. You can make moves versus these guys because
Right.
they are paying attention.
Seat 8's going to bring this one in with a Queen 10 of diamonds to $25. Hav is going to call with pocket 3s, and Francois in there with a Queen Jack offsuit. We're going to take this 3 ways here. Well, Hav comes 9-7-5 here. Hav actually has the best hand. And Edward is going to make a continuation bet with overcards here. He's going to bet 50.
Yep.
And you see Hav is just not going to get involved.
Yeah,
I
pretty
don't
small
mind
bet
that.
here.
Well, he's going to bet 50 into a $75 pot.
Take it
I
down,
mean, if
probably.
you're constantly calling flop bets and 3-way hands out of position with pocket 3s there thinking you might have the best hand, I just don't think that's a winning strategy.
No, I mean, think about it also. He does not have the 3 of clubs in his hand. If the 3 of
Yeah.
clubs falls, he might be behind to a flush. It's a good laydown by Huff.
Dave, I was telling you earlier, I had an interesting session in the 5-10 game. I actually was positive, I had a good positive session.
Right.
I lost a hand. I raised with ace-jack of spades. I flopped the nut flush, and another guy flopped a straight flush.
Wow.
Now, how often is that going to happen to you? Lucky for me, the guy only had about 700 or 800 behind.
I mean, the odds of
isn't that
flopping a straight flush are huge, and then the odds of you somebody flopping a straight flush while you have the ace high flush.
Oh, flopping it. Unbelievable. C3's got an ace queen.
Did you guys slow play it?
I bet the flop. He called. The turn actually paired the board. I moved all in. And when he called, I thought maybe he had a full house. So,
Right.
it didn't necessarily really
We got a
matter.
raise from Gus here, and Kevin decided to call with an ace-10 offsuit. Now, I was going to say, in some games, ace-queen and ace-jack have some value because people will play weaker aces.
Yeah.
In a game like this, with this kind of lineup, weak aces have almost no value.
Well, queen 9-4 here with a couple clubs. Gus has got top pair. And let's see how much Gus is going to bet. He's going to bet... It's a $60 pot here. He's going to bet 75.
A little bit over the pot here. He's a huge favorite, obviously. You can see that. Kyle's got a gut shot.
Billy's not going to get involved there.
But you understand what I'm saying. In a game like this against pretty decent players,
Right.
you're not going to see people calling off their stacks with ace-5 and ace-7 and ace-9 if they hit just an ace.
Right.
So in that case, if you have ace-jack and you flop an ace and you bet big, and then you bet big again, and you get called both times, you can't like your ace-jack.
Right. Button moves over here to seat number 1. That is Billy. Again, the yellow chips are $5 chips. Blue chips are $1 chips. We're playing 300 min, 500 max. no limit hold'em with 5-5 blinds. We like to say the best game in town. You can make a lot of money in this game without much risk.
Yeah, I love this game.
Yeah.
It really is a great game.
And unlike some other forms of restricted buy-in, no limit, this game actually gives you 100 times if you want to buy in the maximum, the big blind, which is a good structure.
It almost feels, even when you start the game, it almost doesn't feel like a restricted buy-in game.
Yeah.
Because you have 500 also. I mean, I see some people buying into 300, which I would never do. I'd always buy into the maximum.
Right. This one's going to get limped around, and Gus is going to raise it up out of the big blind to 20 with Queen Jack. You know, I like Gus's game. He's kind of a stronger player. I always wonder sometimes if people change their games up on the show, because sometimes I see Gus make pre-flop moves that obviously I don't necessarily know if he would do on other tables.
Yeah, you wonder.
5-way action here. Gus is the pre-flop raiser. 10-8-3 with a couple of diamonds, and you can see there are a couple three weak aces in the hand. Ace deuce, ace 3, and ace 9.
Yeah, now people will call with a weak ace. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I actually just won a huge pot right before the show with ace 4. But you're not looking just for the ace. You're looking for 2 pair or better.
Now Kyle is going to lead out for 50. He's got the nut diamond draw with a pair. Flopped a pretty big hand here. Ace 3 of diamonds. And as you can see, he's an overwhelming favorite here over the rest of the field. I don't think he's going to get a call here from anyone.
I mean, that's the kind of flop. If you have ace 3 of diamonds, that's the kind of flop you're looking for. You're not
Right.
looking for a flop of ace jack 5.
Right.
You know, rainbow.
Which we saw several people get involved with last night and lose a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah. Looks like Barry Woods is on the thread, of course. I have seen the avatar, and I am a fan of it, Barry. Button moves over here to seat 2. Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. I'm still battling a cold, Dave. Will
Are you
it ever
really?
end? It's just one of those things that sometimes you get sick, and then you get healthy, and then you get sick again, and it's just something that's, going around here.
Just going back and forth,
Yeah.
huh?
Pocket aces here for seat number 7, Francois. He's going to raise it up to 45 here. He's got pocket rockets. Now, seat 1 mucks the king jack of hearts there pretty easily. And I don't think Francois is going to get any action. I was actually playing with Francois throughout the day in the 5-10 game. He said he was stuck, but he wanted to come and play over at Live at the Bike. So, there you go. Pretty solid player.
Yeah, Francois is a pretty solid player. I mean,
Yeah.
he played on the Live at the Bike about, I want to say 2-3 weeks ago. After the show, he came to me for some advice and asked me how I played a couple of hands.
Right.
And he's one of those guys where I will talk to about some hands and stuff. Not necessarily his play, but we'll kind of talk poker.
Right.
I believe you. Just go watch the tape.
I have absolutely no problems talking about poker to good players, which is kind of the basis of what, say, the 2+2 forums are over there on that website. Because
What's great about it?
I mean, not to get mixed up necessarily with people. I think people just have this feeling that I don't want to give away any of my secrets. And that's actually kind of why I hemmed and hawed a little bit when I was trying to talk some Omaha high-low with Shirley. Because she actually had the same attitude, that she was not going to talk about it. Because
I mean,
she thought
you know-
people were so bad.
You know
that
I
she was-
absolutely love Shirley.
Right.
I got to bring this point up, and I'll do it right after this hand.
You got 5-way action here.
King with 2 clubs.
King 6-9. Got King 7 of clubs here for seat 5. Top pair in the flush draw.
But it's not the best hand there, because seat 2 has got King Jack.
And it gets checked over to seat 2, and he's going to bet 45 here.
Pretty straightforward here, and you wonder if James is going to push a little bit.
He just makes the call.
He's actually well, you'll see now as the cards go, he's got some outs here. Any 7 and any club, he's got 12 outs to the win here,
Yeah.
which makes him a slight underdog to Kyle.
Well, the turn's at 10, and King Jack is still good here.
And Billy is out of the hand. There you go.
King 7 checks, and Kyle looks like he's going to bet again.
And you saw it was 52-48 on the flop. Now it's 67-33.
You know, the funny thing in deeper games here, Dave, I know sometimes you and I go back and forth about this. If you're looking at King Jack with that board, unless you think the guy has an absolute flush draw, oh, and the river's the king, it's the case king, and I want to keep this board up after this hand is done. And King Jack is the winner here.
Yes.
And he is going to... He's going to...
Actually, James is betting.
He's going to bet 200. Yeah, James is going to bet 200. What I'm saying about King
Kyle's
Jack...
got to call this,
and
doesn't he?
But it actually applies right here. Unless you think the guy's on a busted flush draw, you can't beat King 9. You can't beat King 10. You can't beat King Queen. You can't beat Ace King. The only thing you can beat here is King 8 or King 7, or have the same hand with King Jack. Now, in this particular case, James had a king with a weaker kicker with a flush draw.
Yeah, and it's a good
So if
point.
you look at the board.
Right.
And I said sometimes, and he makes the call, and he's going to take down the pot with King Jack. I say sometimes we talk about deeper games, controlling pot size. When that 10 comes out on the turn there, if you've got a guy who might be on a flush draw, but also might be chasing a 7-8 or a king, there's just not a whole lot that King Jack can beat when that 10 comes out on the turn.
What I'll often do in a play like that, and you talk about controlling a pot size by checking.
Right.
What I like to do is instead of checking, because that kind of shows weakness, and sometimes you'll be faced a big bluff bet.
Right.
Sometimes I'll just bet a small bet that'll kind of keep it going. Like I actually saw Mo. I was playing with him earlier today, and I saw the pot was say $800, and the flop was pretty scary. And the top, Mo had top pair with a queen. But he had like Queen Jack.
Right.
Okay, nothing special. And he was betting 100 into the pot, into like a $700-800 pot. And he just kept betting 100.
Yeah.
Because he wanted a cheap showdown. He
Or
didn't
maybe
want to
you
check
bet like 400 on the turn into a pot size that's 800, something like that, and then check it down on the river.
Yeah, he actually bet 100 into
Wow.
a $700
Okay.
pot, just got called.
Yeah.
And then the river bet another 100 and got
Well,
called.
Dave, we know that usually there actually are weaker players in those higher level games, especially the 5-10, and they'll just have an tendency just to call, so you can
Yeah.
get away with that against non-tough opponents.
It was funny. Well, somebody with ace queen, the board paired,
Yeah.
and somebody with ace queen felt like they could not raise Mo,
Right.
and they just kept calling him. Now, if Mo had checked the guy with ace queen, maybe the guy with ace queen bets 300 or 400.
Seat 5 has moved all in here with ace 10, and he's going to take it down. Looks like he was all in for 125. And again, we talked a little bit about this last night. I don't quite understand the play. You can really rebuy in this game at any time. He can move his stack up to 300 if he wants to play short chip. But moving in with 5-5 blinds to 125 with ace 10 offsuit, I never really understand that pre-flop.
Yeah, it's funny. People, it's almost like a form of tilt here. They play it like a small tournament. Like, well, I'm short stack, so I'll see if I can double up.
Right.
Well, you got to realize that in a good game.
And if you're going to get called, you've got to know you're behind,
Yeah, especially
right?
in a good game.
Yeah. A tough game, you mean, or a game with good players.
That's
Not
what I meant,
necessarily
right.
a good game in terms of what we call
Oh,
a
no,
good
no,
game.
not, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Buttons over here in seat number 6. That's Kevin. Bob is going to bet through. I thought that King Jack hand was interesting, Dave.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
And I might call with King Jack because maybe the guy's trying to represent top pair on a busted club draw. But any real king you can't beat or a full house.
No, you're right. You're definitely right.
Bob is raised here with ace queen. 6-9 of diamonds, big lick suited, and Edwards in there with ace jack. Oh, flop has missed everyone here. 10-8-4 rainbow.
That's what happens more often than not.
Yep. And it gets checked around. And now the turn's an ace. And let's see if Edward gets in trouble.
Now, this is the interesting thing. Now, you wonder how hard Hob is really going to play this hand.
Well, he's going to make a bet here.
And Edward can't love that. And this is raised pre-flop.
And again, if you look at the hands, if Hob is not making this play with king-queen, what can you beat? You can't beat ace-10, you can't beat ace-queen, and you can't beat ace-king.
Right, you can only beat ace-9 or worse. And
Yeah.
is Hob really going to raise pre-flop with ace-9 or worse?
And the river is another 10, and the
That
queen
changes
is going to
nothing.
play.
Yeah, that changes nothing here. Both players have aces up.
Well, you wonder, it was interesting. Hob actually checked it down in the river in position there. Could you get a value bet? Kind of the other way you're looking at it. I can only really beat ace-jack with my ace-queen. Could
Well, I
I
think
bet
that's what
and get
Hob
called?
looked at.
Yeah.
Hob looked at it and said, well, I can only beat ace-jack.
Right.
Would the guy have repopped it with ace-king? Maybe he's got the same hand as me.
Yeah. I don't actually mind the check down there by Hob. No.
Now, if he had ace-king there, you definitely should bet
Yeah,
that.
I would think so, for sure. But again, you talking about paying attention to the board and paying attention to kickers, you might think you have a kicker that plays, and it does, but you look at lower kickers that someone might have, and they would have 2 pair. And then you look at maybe the possibility of a higher kicker that beats you, and then you really got to really think about hands that you can beat.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, the 10 is obviously a scare card, too, as well. Remember, the guy was in early position. He might have checked to look for a check raise in the flop. Then the ace comes on the turn. He goes, oh, shoot, now I got to check it.
Right.
And he calls, and the 10 comes. Man, what can you beat now?
Yep. 5-way action here, limped around. It's going to be a $25 pot. Ace 9-9 here. And we got trip 9s over there by Boston in the blind. And he's going to come out and bet. He's going to bet 15. Doesn't look like anyone has an ace right now, Dave, or clubs to make this call. Yeah.
I want to say hi to our 2+2 crowd. Hey, Garland, how you doing? It was good to see you down here in L.A. Garland is a 2+2er, but he lives in Northern California area and comes down here on occasion for like a week at a time and plays poker down there. And he likes to play at our table, and we love to see him.
What were you going to say about Shirley before?
Oh, I absolutely love Shirley. But we were talking about players that are scared of revealing their secrets. Ooh.
Right.
You know what? Come on. Doyle Brunson wrote Super System 1 like 30 years ago. And he's still beating the game.
I think Dave, you know me. I'll play in any high limit Omaha high-low game, but now look at me now. I actually prefer to play no limit. We're giving away no limit secrets, and I think those games are softer than the Omaha secrets that she doesn't want to give away.
When I first started working here as a professional poker player, I used to play stud high-low a lot. Mm-hmm. And Joe Wynn, we're not talking about Joe Wynn at the table, different Joe Wynn. Oh, look at that, aces for Boston.
Yeah, he's in the small blind.
You know what? I'll get to my story in a second right after this hand.
And there's the purple chips. And he's going to make it 60 to go here. I don't know if we have those over there, Dave. He's raised it up to 60. Is his name spelled with an I? Wow. Yeah. He raised it to 60. Now, Gus has got King 10 of clubs over there in C3. It's not up on board here.
Anytime today.
He's still thinking about it.
He's talking about me.
Again, Gus is in there with King 10 of clubs.
Just my bad.
And he folds.
Yeah, Gus is known as a human rain delay.
Wow, and look at this, Dave. Seat 5 pulls the limp re-raise all in with King Queen off, trying to get his money in, and Boston instantly calls.
Well, he's certainly going to get his money in.
Yeah, and he is drawing really slim here.
Yeah, we see one king dead. Actually, two kings are dead.
Two kings are dead.
So there's only one king and 3 queens left.
And he's got, Boston's got a higher spade than him as well. Wow, look at that. 4 aces. Boston flops 4 aces. And Gus would have made a flush. Boston flops quad aces there.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
You know, it's funny. I actually had an instance like that happen in the World Series of Poker 2 years ago. I was all in, unfortunately, with aces against a lady, and I had her way out chipped, and I flopped 4 aces.
Was this in a tournament or a cash?
This is the World Series of Poker tournament.
Oh yeah.
And all I could bemoan, I was like sitting there going, like, God, why couldn't you have more chips? Why couldn't somebody else be in the pot?
Right.
Anyway, back to my story. I was going to say Joe Wynn, when I first started playing here, he kind of took me under his wing. It was really nice.
Not Action Joe Wynn.
No. Joe Wynn, who won the World Series of Poker, won a World Series Poker bracelet in 2000. Started teaching me some stuff, kind of like mentored me, and I really appreciate it. Really class guy.
Outside high-low you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he really mentored me on being a professional poker player, though, in general. And he would give me tips at the table in front of all the other players.
Right.
And I would say, well, Joe, aren't you scared of giving away all the secrets to everybody? He goes, no, these players. And he'd say it right in front of me. He goes, these players, they're all fish. None of them listen anyway.
Right.
And he's right. I mean, nobody, it's like goes right through your head. If somebody wants to gamble and comes to the casino to play and not really win, they don't care. They're not really listening to advice.
Live straddle here by, looks like, Gus. And it's going to get limped around. We get 5-way action, which means, actually 6-way action, which means it's a $60 pot, $10 to call. Well, 8, 5, 6 here. Francois got a gut shot, straight flush draw.
Well, Gus has got top pair with an open-ended straight draw. Does not have a diamond in his hand. James has the king of diamonds. Billy with the queen of diamonds.
Turns a king, and let's see if Billy now comes out and bets with top pair, second nut diamond, or
how about
third
James?
nut diamond.
How about James with top pair and second nut?
There you go. That's better. Now, again, the thing with the percentages here, as you can see, it looks like James is actually an underdog to Gus, but it's just because the 2 king-queens are in the hand, and they don't have the outright chance of winning the hands.
Well, yeah, James, obviously, with the king of diamonds, can win the hand.
Right.
Billy has no chance of winning the hand outright. He can only chop it if it goes to showdown.
Now, look at this. Seat number 1 has come out and bet with the king-queen, and Gus has announced raise. So a $40 bet. And, you know, if you're Gus here, he's going to get involved with this. He's going to make it $140. Maybe he thinks he has the best hand now and maybe trying to bet a higher diamond out of the hand. And it gets James out of the hand. And you wonder if, oh, wow, and seat 1 comes back over the top all in and Gus instantly folds.
Wow, nice play by Billy there.
I was going to say, you know, you wonder, and Gus actually would have made a straight because it was a 9 of spades on the river. You wonder if it was a complete blank on the river if Gus would check behind Billy on the river, but he would have made a straight.
The only way to win the hand, obviously, is to bet, but who knows? I mean, it's funny, though, you know, when we talk about that, I mean, you imagine, like, a player like Grace, and anybody from early school live at the bike, like Action Gracie. You could tell her all day how to play poker. She's not going to listen. She's going to play her own way anyway, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't care.
And Omaha's a pretty complex game when you think about it. I mean, people can't even read their hands in that game.
Exactly. I mean, the information is out there. If somebody wants to become a good poker player, you can go out there, read the books, watch Live at the Bike. I mean, you can really soak up the information.
Button's over there in seat number 1. It's limped around here. See 5-way action, $25 pot.
A lot of implied odds in this game, folks. Remember, it's only $5 to see a flop.
Queen deuce 5 here. Kyle's got the nut spade draw over there in seat number 2. Now, he bet out on a draw before. Let's see if he comes and bets now.
Well, Gus has got top pair, but not much of a kicker.
Kyle checks it. And Gus is going to throw a little bet out here. He's going to bet $20.
Now, if Kyle check raises this, you think he can take it down. Gus has got top pair, but no kicker at all.
Well, just a check call here. And Kyle's got an overcard here with the ace. Here we go to the turn. Well, there's the spade flush. Turns to 6.
Yeah, this is the problem with the hand is, are you really going to make any money off it, though?
Well, maybe, Gus, who's kind of quote-unquote donking it up here, but he checks the turn. Wow, and the river's a spade here. Now, Gus has the 8 of spades in his hand. Kyle's going to come out and bet with the nut spades. He bets 30. And,
Now, the thing with Gus is he's looking at this hand going, well, wait a second. If the guy called me the queen, obviously his kicker's got to be higher than my kicker. And if the guy called me the spade, well, then I'm in trouble, too.
And look at this. Gus is going to mini raise to 30 more. And Kyle here does not have the nuts. If Gus had 3-5. Now, the issue here is in this game, if you're not stacked enough.
Look how gun shy you are after walking into a straight flush.
Well, my question to you is, though, can you re-raise this and get a call by a king? Against a player like Gus, could you re-raise and get him to call with a king? And the reason why I say that is because if he's not going to ever call with the king of spades, there's no reason to ever re-raise this here on the river.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
And you're probably correct in thinking that this is just a call.
Right.
Because if he re-raises all in, now these guys aren't that deep.
Well,
But
yeah,
you're
these
talking
guys might be
deep.
playing a little, back and forth, too. So
Right.
there might be another reason to do that as well.
Yeah, if you're talking deep stack, no limit hold'em,
Yeah.
Kyle does not show. I love it.
Again, if people are joining us late, I was talking about a hand. I actually had ace-jack of spades. Raised it up to 60, got 6 callers, and the flop came 7-3-5, all spades. I bet right out on the flop. I got 1 caller. And the turn card, I put the guy all in, and he called, and he had flopped a straight flush, 5-6. Or 4-6 or something.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a question here, an email. We love your emails, so keep emailing us at live@thebike.com. Paul Lusby says, hey, Bart and Dave, I was just wondering if you knew, where does the Bay 101 get the money for the bounties? And is it true that they pay $10,000 to the chip leader for each day?
I don't-
Thanks, Big Daddy Reppin.
I'm not privy to that information. Usually bounty tournaments, it's extra buy-in. It's incorporated within
No,
the
well,
buy-in.
the Bay 101 bounties are actually special bounties. It's like, Chris Moneymaker would have a bounty on his head,
Yeah.
Daniel Negreanu would have, and that's something that the casino actually puts up. And don't worry, the casino's making plenty of money. Fresh. Don't worry about them.
James has brought this one in for a raise under the gun with ace-king.
In terms of the $10,000 for the chip leader for each day, I'm not sure about that. But it certainly would induce action, though, at the end of the, at the end of each day, huh?
Now, Edward is called here with a suited connector. And James is going to come out and bet. Looks like 40. Edward is not going to get involved. And James takes it down.
Now, speaking of tournaments, we've got our own tournament, March 1st through 27th, starting tomorrow night. Actually, tomorrow night is a Casino Industry Employees Tournament. No limit hold'em tournament starting at 4:15 p.m. And Thursday is our first public tournament. Open to the public. It's a no limit hold'em, $50K guarantee, only $200 buy-in, folks. And let the tournaments begin. It'll be over $1 million in cash and prizes, folks. Every day, 4:15 p.m.
Here we go with the first chip count here of the night. So we can see what these players are at right now. Let's take a look at the differences. This game pretty much started right when we started the show.
Yes.
So we haven't really... And you can see that Kyle is up $450 here already, seat 2.
Well, his King Jack obviously got paid off, and directly in James's hand.
Pocket queens here for seat 4, but Gus is going to bring this one in with pocket 9s on the button, and Hob in the small blind has queens. And he is going to re-raise.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
Now, 9s on the button, you might call this if it's worth it, if you have enough money to take one off.
Well, he's going to make it 100 to go, and it doesn't look like Gus has all that much money.
So this is one of those questions now. To me, if you've got 9s here, you almost look at it and go, well, the guy's got an overpair, I'm dead. And what am I going to do on the flop if he moves in no matter what?
Seat 1 had a 3-4 seated. Seat 2 had pocket 3s. And look at this. Gus is going to gamble up. He figures, I've already had enough committed, and he's going to make the move in with 9s. Now, against a player like Hav, I know how Hav plays. I mean, at best, I'm hoping that he has ace-king, right?
Yeah, that's the problem with it. Once...
Wow, turn is a 9. Oh, and the river is a spade, and I can't quite see.
Hav has the queen of spades. There you go.
Yep, there it is. Hav has got the queen of spades in his hand. Wow. Unbelievable.
You apologize for that.
Yep. Wow.
Look at that. And the 9 of spades gives... 9 of spades there gives Gus the best hand just for a little bit of a moment there.
Right.
But Hav catches up and passes him with the spade on the river.
I was going to say, maybe Gus thought he was in gamble mode there, but when you raise, and then a player like Hav, who has really tightened his game up, re-raises, unless he is trying to put a move on you because you're out of line the whole night, the best you can think that you're up against is like ace-king, right?
Well, Hav definitely does open up his game in this game.
Yeah.
He definitely plays a little looser in this game. But my guess is, once Hav has put $100 in there and you're re-raising it to $200,
yeah.
Hav is pot committed.
Right.
In all likelihood, at best, you're 50-50.
Yeah.
At worst, you're a big dog. And do you really want to gamble? It's not a tournament, remember. You don't need to accumulate chips. You don't need to gamble that much.
Looks like we got a raise here, I believe. I want to say maybe by Hav on the button with King 9 of hearts. And he's flop top pair here.
Yeah. Now, I don't mind. I mean, obviously, if you know Hav's got ace-jack and you have 9s, yeah, sure, I'll take that. I'll take that edge. But you have to obviously put him on a range of hands, and there's a chance he has 10s, jacks, queens, kings, or aces.
Hav has bet 60 here. No one really has any of this whatsoever. And Hav is going to take it. The funny thing about this, too, is, I don't even open my game up. It seems like even some of the good players I respect, even at this level, play queen-jack suited or offsuit from up front or early position, possibly maybe trying to hit their straights or maybe putting the pre-flop razor on ace-king. Maybe you look at it differently. I don't know if you play that hand from up front, but I just think it's dangerous.
Well, it all depends on if you can get away from it.
Yeah.
I mean, in No Limit Hold'em, there's a whole spectrum of hands that you can play if you're smart enough to get away from them.
Right.
You got to realize if you're playing queen-jack, you're not looking for a queen or a jack.
Right.
You're looking for 2-pair or better.
Seat number 1 is going to bring this one in for 20. He's got pocket queens. Seat 5 is going to call with 7s. And 7 and 8, and then there were jack 10 offsuit and 4 5. So $80 pot here going 4 ways. There we go. Jack, deuce 3, and queens are good here. Now the question is,
wow.
Seat 8, is jack 10 going to get involved?
How about Francois, though? Francois got 4-5. I like his hand. 4-5, one of my favorite hands there.
And we got an all-in here, I believe.
I believe Billy moved all in.
He's moved all in with the pair. Now this takes some of the play out of Francois now. He's moved in for $650 all in to an $80 pot, Dave. We talk about this. Sometimes we kind of make fun of some of the props that play limit and then try to play over in the 5-10 no limit game. They come over, they pick up an overpair, they raise, and then they move all in for $2,000 into a $300 pot.
Yeah, it's an easy laydown in this case by Francois, and it's probably an easy laydown for Edward as well.
But it's dangerous really to play it that way, isn't it?
Well, if I know Billy's going to play it this way, I can call almost all the raises he makes.
Yeah.
Knowing that if I hit my hand, 2-pair or better, I'm going to get his entire stack.
Right.
And I don't even have to bet it. I can check it because he's going to move all in.
I mean, he's moved in for $680 into an $80 pot.
Yeah, and Francois got to know he's way behind here. Francois still in the hand, folks. He has 4-5.
Well, he actually has folded.
Oh, he has? Okay,
yeah, it looks like Edward's going to fold. Now, maybe in defense of seat number 1, Billy, if you've got 2 opponents that are in the hand, in Edward and Francois, that only have, say, 200 in front of you, he's moving all in, but he's only really betting 200.
Right, and
that might have something to do with the reason of what.
Definitely, Edward looks like he's got about $350 to $400, and maybe he was looking at it that way. Well, if the pot's 80, if I bet $80 here, and the guy comes over the top of me, I'm all in anyway. So I understand your point there. Well spoken. Button moves over to seat 7. You can follow a live thread by going to 2plus2.com, clicking on forums, clicking on World Poker Tournament events, and live at the bike for February 28th, folks. We do follow that. And we can also email us at live@thebike.com. Try to keep the show as interactive as possible. Billy's going to make it $20 to go. He has ace queen offsuit here.
Man, that's not good. I'm playing a lot of hands.
And James is going to call. Francois is going to call. And looks like... Actually, it's up to Edward. Edward calls, too. Edward calls a queen 3 suited here. And Boston's going to call, and we're seeing this 5 ways. The pot is $100, folks. And look at that flop. 10, 9, 7. Francois has flopped second pair, and he's open-ended, folks. Big flop, but look at that. Boston has a set of 7s. You know, and Billy can get away from ace-queen pretty easy here. But Francois might be in trouble. He's open-ended with second pair. Nobody else has anything here, and Boston has bet his set right out. It looks like he bets $100 into a $100 pot. Francois quickly folds. Wow. Francois quickly folded that. Boston takes it down without a problem. Now, I'm not sure Francois might be a little bit short-stacked here. And with not that many chips, he figures, well, there's no implied odds on my playing the hand. The only problem with that is, why call raises with hands like 9-8 then? In that case, you either want to rebuy, get a little more money behind you, or wait for some big hands. Because that's a pretty big flop there. You got a pair and an open and a straight draw there. I mean, unless you specifically put somebody on a set. Man. Once again, we are live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 5. If you want to pre-register for the Winning of the Green tournament, which starts on Thursday, like I said, you can go to thebike.com and pre-register for the tournaments. Avoid the lines.
6-way action here. Limped around. Jack, deuce, deuce. No one has a jack or a deuce.
Yeah, nobody has anything here. Ace high is the best hand, I guess, huh?
Well, Edward's going to come out and bet here with ace high.
Wow, it's like he knew he had the best hands.
And I'm
Well,
sure he's going to take it down.
More importantly than that, he's got the button.
Button moves over here to seat 9. Again, we're playing 300 to 500 no limit hold'em here. Take a look at Gus.
It's also funny, you know, people say you talk about your game and you give away a lot of things. And then some people say, well, if I play on Live at the Bike, I'm going to give away all my secrets. Well, why is Mo consistently winning every single month then?
Right.
He's been on Live at the Bike for the last year. You'd think that somebody would have like, you know, hey, I'm going to study Mo and I'm going to beat him. But yet he continues to win.
Right.
You were talking about Queen Jack before. One of the reasons I really like Queen Jack is because if you hit your straight, oftentimes it hits your opponent as well.
We got 5-way action here. A little bit of a raise, I believe. Actually, it was just a straddled pot. 6-6-7 here on the flop. And we got trip 6s for Gus. And I believe he was in the straddle spot. He checked it from up front. Okay, turn is an ace. He picks up a flush draw with trip 6s now.
Yeah, his hand is getting better and better.
Well, Hav, he was open-ended.
Yeah, the funny thing is, if a 10 comes off there,
Right.
is Gus going to lose all his money?
A couple posts here on 2+2, Dave, I want to get to. So I know you'll have something to say. Russ McGinley, of course. Super fan. Bart, how can you be 100% sure that anyone will never call a raise on the river when they're holding the second nuts? The answer is you can't, and not raising there is idiotic. Well, again, it's against Gus, Dave. And if you're in a deeper game, and then another person, B-Shek, says, yeah, if you're really not worried about a straight flush, or if you're worried about a straight flush here, you shouldn't even play poker, at least not no limit. Well, hey, come down to the big games and start doing that move.
Yeah, you've got
against a good player.
Yeah, now in this game, obviously they're a little short.
They're not that deep.
They're not that deep, so
Right.
you might re-raise that one time.
Right.
But against a really good player, okay, if you bet, they raise, and there is a hand that can beat your hand.
And you have the nut flush, and
Well, you're not the nut flush. You have the ace high flush.
right. Well, that's
And somebody has the nut
semantics.
flush.
Right. You have the ace high flush, and you do not have the nuts.
And you don't have the nuts. Well,
You're going to re-raise, and then if the guy moves over the top of you for another 1,500 or 2,000, you're going to call? Well, you know, it's just
We've seen people go broke
Right.
on that play
Absolutely.
on this show.
Absolutely.
I want to say 2 months ago, we saw that.
Yeah.
Somebody had a one-card straight flush.
Yeah, it was a one-card straight flush. King 10 deuce here on the flop. And again, Seed 8 is going to bet here. Edward, he doesn't really, he just got ace high and he's going to take it down. And again, a case could be made, well, if you're playing the player and you're trying to play cagey, and you think that the player might think that you're bluffing by re-raising, well, okay. But if you're really deep, why on earth would you ever want to open it back up?
Yeah, well, the only time, and this is my only, just to play devil's advocate against you, is generally speaking, you shouldn't be betting the river unless you either A, can get somebody with a better hand to lay their hand down, or B, you're getting somebody to call with a worse hand than yours. So you're value betting either A or B. But there's also a C, and C is there is value, especially in no limit hold'em,
Right.
to not showing your
Right.
hand, leaving that air of doubt out there. And maybe, and I'll throw this at you, if I was playing against you, Bart, okay, or you're playing against Mo, somebody who's pretty good, and you bet with, say, anything, you're bluffing the river, okay? There's 4 spades out there. Somebody with the king of spades raises you, okay? You now re-raise them with
Right.
your garbage,
Right.
okay? And you think they'll muck the king of spades because they think, okay, you must have the ace.
Right.
Well, the only way that play can work is if you do bet the ace of spades.
Boston has raised it pre-flop here with pocket fives, and he got a couple callers. Now, Kyle calling the button here with queen jack suited. He's hit top pair, but it's all hearts. And it gets checked over to Kyle, and he's going to bet from the button.
Well, that's the power of position. If he's up front, he probably has to check that hand.
Yep.
But in position, he can bet it.
Now, Boston has the 5 of hearts in his hand.
Now, Boston's hearts are good, but how does he know that?
Right. He actually has 11 outs on this hand if he can catch a 5 or a heart, and he makes the call.
And he's got backdoor straight possibilities here, folks.
Well, the turn is a heart, and here we go again. How does he know his hand is good?
See, if he checks here and Kyle puts a nice bet in,
Check, check. The river is an ace. Check. And they're just going to check it down there.
yeah. You understand what I'm saying there. If I'm 100% sure that you're going to lay down the king of spades,
Right.
well, then can't I do a lot of bluffing on the river? If there's 4 spades out there?
Right.
Obviously, it's risky.
Right.
Because if you have the ace of spades, you're going to call me.
Right.
But, just to throw that out there.
We had an email again from Mark Simpson. He says he's an Englishman avidly watching in Poland. I have a question. What does it mean when you talk about a person being on a free roll during a hand? I've never gotten this. Thanks again, Mark Simpson.
Well, thanks for the email, Mark. We really appreciate it. And we will get to that question in just 1 second.
Button moves over here to Gus, and he's got queens. And Gus raises a lot from the button, and why not raise good with big with your good hands as well as whatever hands you're trying to
Definitely.
represent.
Maybe somebody will think you're on a steal and they'll re-raise you.
He's got queens, and he's going to raise it to 20. Seat 5 is going to call with 8-9. And it looks like everybody's in there. Boston's in there with king deuce, up and down suited. And actually, he is not in the hand. I was going to say, I'm surprised that he would be in that hand.
Yeah.
King, queen, 4 here.
Wow, set of queens for Gus.
Yep.
He's not out of the woods here, though. Billy has a gut shot straight draw. If a 10 were to hit, he has the straight.
It's about an $80 pot. So let's see how much Gus is going to throw in here.
Everybody checks the Gus, and Gus should, of course, bet this.
Yeah, like I said, this would be almost ludicrous not to bet right here from what the image you're trying to get, and in raising a lot pre-flop.
And we always pointed out, they're checking to the razor. You're supposed to bet.
Right.
You almost want to bet, hoping that somebody with a king up front is going to check raise you. And that's the whole point of it.
And Billy's going to make the call. He's got a gut shot again in the 10. He also has backdoor hearts here. You can see the percentages. The turn's a jack now. He has a pair.
And you can see Gus is an overwhelming favorite, folks. Now, is there any value to staying in there if you're Billy now? Because think about it. If he hits a straight, anybody with an ace would have a straight.
That's right. Well, it looks like it's gotten checked to Gus, and he is going to bet again.
Yeah. Imagine Billy's probably going to throw it away now.
Bet 65 here. And the only thing that Billy can catch here is a 10 that you do not know is good if it comes, because Gus would beat you with an ace.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
If a 10 comes, it's like you check.
Right.
And hope it just gets checked down.
Gus is going to take it down there with a $65 bet. So go over to that free roll question.
Now, free roll generally is, and people will probably ham it on me, but what I've always thought it was in terms of definition-wise is basically if two players have essentially the same hand at the time, but only one person can improve to a winner.
Right.
So, for example, let's say I have ace-king and Bart has ace-king, and the flop comes out with a king, or actually comes out with anything, but one of us has, say, a flush draw. Then one of us would be on a free roll. One of us could win, but could not possibly lose the hand, while the other person could only either tie it or lose.
Limped around here.
And oftentimes we'll tell you, let's say you've got a straight with a spade draw, and you suspect that your opponent might have the same exact straight. Oftentimes you want to get as much money in the pot as possible because you're on a free roll. You know, if nothing happens, okay, well then you chop it. You know, you both have the straight. But hey, if you get lucky and that flush card hits, well then suddenly you've won all his money.
Billy leads out here with an ace and 6 of diamonds draw. He's going to take it down. Email here from Mike Annalini. He says, I know the answer to this varies depending on the game, but in your experiences, where have you seen the biggest jump in terms of skill needed to be a winner with respect to the no-limit games? Do you see a tremendous difference in skill between the 80 max game and, say, the 305 that's on now?
Well, in this specific game, I do. You know, it really depends, obviously, on the game. Generally speaking, I think there is a big jump up from, say, the 1 and 2 game up to the 3 to 5 game.
Yeah.
I think that's where there is a jump. I think if you're comfortable playing the $80 game, well, then you probably can jump up to the $100 or the $200 game without really missing a beat.
Yeah.
But to make that next jump to the 3 to 5, I do think you've got to obviously play some pretty good poker.
And then when you make the jump to the 5, 10, it's not necessarily better players, but guys who have more dispensable money.
It's more a matter, when you make the next jump, it's more a matter of being comfortable with those stakes.
Right. Limped around here. Queen, Jack, 5 with a couple of hearts.
And that's the flop I'm looking for with Queen Jack.
Seat 5 here, it gets checked to him on the button. He's going to bet 15 with big lick. And we have another email that I'm going to get to here in a second from Alex as seat 5 takes it down. Alex Williams. He said, I used to think that people didn't listen to the information out there because they didn't understand or didn't believe it. When I gave my friends pointers like raise when it's folded to you late or play fewer hands, they would dismiss me. But in general, I've noticed a real increase in skill level in the sit and goes. A level of play at the $5 and $10 sit and go level has increased substantially in the past 2 or 3 years.
I'm going to throw out a counter argument to that.
Yeah.
Okay? No disrespect, Alex, but I'm just going to throw something at you. Might it just be like Darwin's theory of evolution?
Where the people who just last longer that they were better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The players 3 years ago that were fish
Right.
don't no longer have the money to play, while the guys that are good, they're still around.
Well, that could be. Sure.
I mean, you think about it. If new players don't consistently come into the game, well, then eventually only the good players will be left.
5-way action here. Limped around.
Wow,
9.
monster flop for seat 7 there, Francois.
9 deuce 5 here. It looks like Francois checked it from up front, maybe going for the check raise. Middle pair flush draw. And seat 3 here is going to bet 20. That's Gus, and Francois is going to check raise.
Yeah, it's a big hand for 5-3 of spades, folks.
And Francois is actually a substantial favorite over Gus's hand here. I know that Gus is not going to stick around here for the heat, unless he wants to make moves against Francois in position.
Even if Gus had ace-9, I like Francois' hands.
Yeah. Yeah, Gus is not going to get involved with it. Francois takes it down.
Take it down, Francois. Another advance of free roll, by the way, is if you're playing a split game with somebody and you already have one side locked up. Let's say you're playing either Omaha 8 or better, or let's say you're playing stud high low, and you already have the low side locked up, and the other person has no chance at low. Well, then you're generally on a free roll because at worst, you're getting half the pot.
Right.
You're definitely getting at least half.
Dave, I actually had a hand earlier where I didn't get called, where the board was ace, king, queen, 10 with 2 hearts, and I had the king 5 of hearts. Now, I had a king high straight, which was the nuts at that time, and there wasn't another 2 suit out there, I was on a free roll against anyone with a king.
Right. And that's one of those places where if somebody had raised you,
Yeah.
and you think, wow, they had the straight also, you would not even hesitate to move all your money in.
And that's in a time where I really might overbet it, because I can see that people don't get away from chop hands when they have a king. They figure, well, I have the chop hand.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really difficult to get away from a hand when you've got the absolute nuts at the time.
Seat number 1 here is going to raise it. He is, I believe he's straddled. No, he was in the big blind, and he's going to raise it up with queens. I do not believe Boston was in the hand, so he is in the big blind.
Looks like he made it,
Looks like 50 to go.
it's funny, he made it $20 with ace-queen offsuit, but he makes it 50 with queens. Kind of varying his bets depending on the hand he has.
Well, he's not going to see a flop.
Good players obviously pick up on that.
Email here from Mark. In this game, will you rebuy immediately to 500 every time you're under 300? I usually do. I mean, sometimes I get, sometimes if I creep down to 400, I'll just bring another 100 back on the table. I don't think there's, if you're comfortable with the level, there's no reason not to do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It really depends obviously on the game sometimes,
Right.
but I'm not gonna. If I'm down to 420, I'm not gonna reach in my pocket every time I lose a hand.
Right. But Dave, if there's a definite maniac who has a lot of chips on the table, you want to max out on the amount that you have in
Yeah.
front of you.
I mean, if I usually keep playing, go 350, 340, but if I go down to 300 and I want to keep playing, yeah, I'll rebuy.
Boston has bought the button here, so he's posted the blind plus the small blind, which in this case are the same. So he's got 5 in the blind and he's got 5 dead, and he has ace king in that spot.
And when Bart says dead, that means $5 in the pot already.
Yeah. And he will have the option, so let's see if it's limped around if he's going to raise. And he is, so that's probably the right play here.
Yeah, I like Boston's game here. A lot
Yeah.
of players do not raise out of the big blind with big hands like that. And Boston, why not? He's raising for value as much as to get some information and to limit the field.
He's made it 40 more to go. Now, Gus has got a suited connector over there, and he has enough chips. He might call here.
Does he have enough chips?
Well,
500. He's got about $500.
yeah, I guess that's close. Maybe Boston doesn't quite have enough. Yeah, well, Boston's had some purple chips.
No, yeah, Boston's got
$25
plenty.
chips.
Yeah, Boston actually, remember, he won a couple of hundred
Yeah.
off that with the aces.
Well, I like to say, the pocket pair rule is, say, I want to make 10 times off of the raise. With the suited connector, you've really actually got to increase that, maybe 15 or 20 times.
Yeah, the only thing
Yeah.
I'll say with sometimes with suited connectors, sometimes I will call a player if I'm in position and I feel like there's a chance I might be able to outplay him
Right,
well.
right.
If they're raising with ace queen or ace king.
You're not necessarily always looking to hit your hand.
Exactly.
Now, seat 5 has got ace king, and he's going to bring this one in for a raise. He's going to make it 30 to go.
It's funny, a lot of tables kind of make a de facto raise where everybody raises the same. And obviously we've been seeing a lot of different raises here.
Now, Kyle has got king, queen offsuit in the big blind, Dave, treble hand, and he's going to make the call. He is dominated. I like Gus's hand a lot better than Kyle's hand. We're going to see three-way action here, and is Kyle going to get himself in trouble if the king comes out? Well, he outflops, and he's got the queen.
Lucky flop for him.
Now, he could also be up against ace-queen just as easily as ace-king here,
Yeah, he
right?
could.
I mean,
King queen is a trouble hand.
yeah. He checked it from up front.
Imagine James is going to put a little bit of a feeler bet out there.
He does. He bets 50. If you're up against kings, aces, or ace-queen, you're in big trouble here.
And that's the problem here. You got king
Yeah.
queen out of position. Now obviously Kyle is in great shape, but he doesn't know that.
Turn is an 8. It was a $50 bet.
Now James can still beat a flush draw, but that's it.
Check, check here. And the river's a heart. So let's see if James might try to represent here. No, he's not going to.
And this is what I'm talking about. Okay, and everybody can say, oh, wait a second. No, Kyle didn't lose money. He won. But generally speaking, with king, queen offsuit, especially out of position,
Right.
you're going to win a small pot like this one because you can't really play it hard,
Yeah.
or you're going to lose a big one.
And all he ended up actually winning was just the continuation, well, the amount of money that was in pre-flop plus the small continuation bet on the flop.
Exactly.
No more betting.
Really,
after that.
almost zero implied odds.
Right. Yeah.
But if seat 5 has got pocket aces there, he's probably going to face a $75 bet on the turn, and then maybe 125 on the river, and he might pay him off the entire way.
Email here from Daniel Stern. Barton Tuck. Question about turning pro. I have about 15,000 saved and usually play 500 no limit with the occasional 1,000 510 no limit. Is this enough to go pro? Well, that is a very, very,
Interesting question.
I guess, subjective question.
Yeah, the
It's just-
$500 no limit, I'm just curious what the blinds are. They're 5-5 blinds or 5-10 blinds?
Well, maybe he's talking about online when they usually start you off with 100 times the big blind. So probably $5 in the big blind for
So
a 500
5-5
bet.
blinds?
Limped around here 3 ways. We'll get to that in a second. Francois has flopped the nut straight here. Queen 10-9.
Rainbow board.
He bets $10, and look at Gus. Gus is going to make the call.
Gus has got absolutely nothing.
And he is out of position. Turn to 7.
Gus is drawing dead.
And look at this. Francois checks right behind Gus. And the river here is a jack. Now, Francois's got a king. Or maybe Francois was trying to get, maybe check the turn, maybe get an 8 to come up on the river, and maybe Gus had a jack. I mean, that's just something out there. If Gus maybe made a check call with a jack there and then got an 8 to peel off on the river.
Yeah, you wonder what Francois, what Gus is even calling with base four.
Yeah. So anyways, it's very, of course when people say turning pro, bankroll, all that stuff, it just, there's so many other variables. We appreciate the question. We'll try to answer it as best we can. But, do you have money to be saved up just to play poker? Do you have another job where you're supporting yourself in
Do you
other
live at
facets?
home?
Do you live at home? What are your monthly expenses? Those are all things that have to be taken into account.
Generally speaking, if you want to turn pro, some of the ways to look at it is you should look at your monthly expenses. And I'm not saying if you live at home with your mom, hey, that's still, whatever your monthly expenses are.
Right.
If you have a mortgage, obviously, put that in there. If you like to go on vacation, if you like to go buy drugs, I don't care what you do.
Or if you just spend more than somebody else,
Right, whatever you might do with your money,
Right.
put that into your monthly expenses, and you should probably have about 6 months saved up.
Got checked around here on the flop. Hav has 2 pair, aces and 5s. He's going to bet $10 and he's going to take it down.
Now, those 6 months, that's 6 month savings there. Now, I'm talking about if you're just turning pro. I'm talking you're quitting your job and you are just going to be a professional poker player, okay?
Yeah.
So take 6 months of savings, okay? And now you probably want, say, I would estimate somewhere along the lines of maybe 50 buy-ins for whatever game you play. So let's say if you play the $500 game, you'd want 50 buy-ins, which would be $25,000.
Yep.
As a bankroll. Plus, and then I'm talking about the 6 months saved up on the side. Because the problem is if you have $15,000 saved up and that's what you're using to pay your rent, and you have a bad couple of weeks or a bad couple of months, well, then what's going to happen?
Right. Interesting email here from Mike Feynman saying that, and a lot of internet poker players who play a lot of hands on the internet have the access to Poker Tracker, and you can actually look at your stats in position with certain hands. It says that Queen Jack is a definite long-term bankroll drainer from up front, and hey, I think we agree.
I definitely agree.
Well, seat 6 here is going to raise it up. I believe he was in the straddle spot, and he's got pocket 7s.
I guess my only point was, depending on the game you're playing in,
Yeah.
And as long as you don't get killed when you flop just a queen or a jack, you might be able to get away with playing it in kind of middle position. But obviously that's a hand I really want to play in late position.
Yeah, but you don't want to be limp calling raises, do you? Even in middle position, it's just tough.
Well, it's an easily dominated hand. We talk about hands like that all the time.
Kevin's going to take down the limpers there. Wins about, maybe $40 in dead money there with 7s.
If I have Queen Jack suited and I limped in middle position, and I get 2 more limpers, and then the small blind raises, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take one off. If it's a reasonable raise.
Do something. Say it, Joe. You do something. I can't strip over here.
And obviously, I'm looking at Baron Vanger Tothson, talking about obviously the big difference between Queen Jack suited and Queen Jack off, and yes, 100%. Obviously suited hands are only a few percentage points more valuable than offsuit hands, but in the long run, those few percentage points really add up.
And again, I see a little response here by Russ McGinley regarding those spades. We'll get to that in a second there. And I don't know if we've actually if maybe somebody missed what the hand was. We've got pocket kings here for Gus. We weren't talking about not raising with the nut flush, with an ace-high flush, Dave. We were actually talking about making a bet, getting raised, and then possibly not re-raising from up front. Big difference.
Oh, yeah.
Big difference.
Clearly, you're going to raise one time.
Right, obviously, yeah.
What am I going to do on the river? I'm going to,
Right.
I've got my balls in my hand, and I'm just going to just bet the monsters.
Right.
Just bet, the nuts.
So Gus is raised here with pocket kings, and Edward is called with king 9 suited. Ace comes up on board here. Gets checked over to Gus. He made it about 50 to go pre-flop, and he's going to bet. And he's going to take it down.
Take it down.
again, a hand like King 9 suited heads up out of position.
I hate King 9.
I mean, the funny thing about this is that you really want to improve your game. You can really go back to basics. I mean, a lot of these players are pretty good, but they do make, even some of the ones that we think are the best, a lot of pre-flop mistakes.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, there are a lot of hands you just don't want to be calling raises with. King 9 is one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, God, look at 22 Skidoo's avatar. Oh, man, it's gotten to that, huh? I like it, though. Very funny. Obviously, hands like King 9 suited, actually, Doyle Brunson calls it a sucker hand all the time. You flop a straight, where are you then, you know? You flop top pair, okay, what do you got then? You know, what are you looking for?
Right.
I'd rather be in there with 5-4, 6-7, 7-5. I mean, those kind of hands are much more valuable than King 9.
$80 raise here by Francois. He's got King Jack suited. And there were a couple limpers, and I believe, again, another straddle. So it was 10 to call, and we had, so it was $40 in dead money. And here we go with Kyle. He's going to call in position with Queen Jack, just kind of taking the words right out of her mouth here, Dave. He's dominated.
It's a big difference, though. He's in position.
Yeah.
Which is a huge thing. Now, if Kyle misses and Francois miss, Kyle can use the position and take it away. I don't mind this call as much as out of position.
160 here pre-flop.
Okay. Both players have missed.
Yeah, but and Francois is going to come out and bet here. It looks like 140. Now, again, though, you can say that you're going to make a call with Queen Jack because you think you're going to outplay someone. Now, we don't know what Kyle's intentions were, though, with this hand. Maybe
no, definitely not.
If he's thinking that, I just have to hit my hand to continue with it, I don't think it's a good call.
If you're calling with Queen Jack to hit a Queen or a Jack, that's not the right way to play it, obviously.
And he just folded there, so,
You're calling for 2 pair or better, or you're calling in position to possibly take it away from your opponent. Now, obviously, a lot of conversations about on the 2+2 thread about re-raising with an ace-high flush.
Right.
As opposed to just betting or raising once, and if you get raised, can you re-raise with it? All Bart is trying to point out is the fact that you've got to be aware that if you don't have the nuts and you're very deep, and you reopen the betting by re-raising a third time,
yep.
Well, you might be sorry.
Well, how about, let me add this into an equation if you're really deep. If you re-raise a third time, because you think you're raising for value, and get raised a 4th time, so now are you going to lay the hand down? Are you that type of player? Now, maybe you can say, really, really getting deep in there, I'm going to re-raise because I think maybe 5% of the time I'll get called by a king. Well, if you're going to say that, it's almost like conditional logic. If that, then fold to a 4-bet.
Well, that's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to that's a good question there.
Right.
If you aren't disciplined enough, and if you can actually throw away an ace-high flush,
right.
Hey, well, then you can always re-raise.
Right. King 9 here.
I mean, I do still. I mean, Bart and I differ in this fact that I still do believe there's a lot of value in not showing your hand.
I don't think we differ in that much. I think that you were one of the first ones to bring that up. So I think that you might use it as a move in your arsenal more so than I do.
Right, okay.
Where I might be sometimes content to check it down in position when I don't necessarily think that I can ever get called by a hand that might beat me. Whereas you might want to, you feel that, hey, I don't want to show my hand down to the rest of the table.
Right.
So it's worth the bet.
I mean, it's really tough, but my only thought is, if somehow I really think this guy over here is raising me with something less than the ace-high flush,
right,
and I can re-raise him and get off that hand, hey,
right.
all the power to me.
Right.
Problem is generally if I'm betting with the ace-high with a spade flush,
right.
Most players aren't raising with the king of spades.
And
that's
the other thing, too. If they do raise with the king of spades, if they're the player that is going to raise with the king of spades, are they going to be the type of player that's going to call a re-raise with the king of spades?
They might. You never know. It's an odd play.
Queen 10-8 here with a couple diamonds. And we got top 2 pair here, Queen 10 for Francois on the button. Now, seat 5, James is going to lead out with Jack 10. He's got a middle pair and a straight draw. And Francois is going to raise it up to 75. Really connected board. I love the raise. Top 2 pair. And again, you raise there to protect your hand as well as stopping action killers from coming. And he's going to get a call from seat 5. We're going to see it heads up here. Well, the turn is an 8, and Francois is still good right now. And he's going to bet here again. Looks like 140. Again, the white chips are $100 chips.
Now, Francois' hand is still good here.
It's 140.
Even if somebody has a bigger queen, say ace-queen, they would have queens and eights,
Right.
while queens and tens are.
Well, James is still thinking about it here. Really thinking about it. It's a $140 bet. And again, sometimes against better players like a Francois, you might make a call that might seem ludicrous. Oh, wow, wait a minute, he's going to push in here. And, you know, Francois is not deep enough to get away from this hand. There's just no way.
No,
If the
I
guy
don't
has an 8,
think
he has
so.
an 8.
Well, how much more is it?
It can't be more than 150 more, and the pot's already about $500, Dave. He's got top 2 pair.
James is in bad shape here.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
actually, what does James have? Like 1 out? Was he a 9 and only a 9?
It's 130 more. It's 130 more here. Yeah, the 10 wouldn't do. Well, actually, the 10 would chop it, right? Wouldn't the
No,
10?
Francois
No,
got
you're
a
right. He
queens
would have a
and 10.
higher, yeah.
Higher full house.
Yeah. Francois makes the call.
James needs a 9 and only a 9. That's it.
And the river's a 6. Yeah. There it is.
Take it down, Francois. Big pot there. And Francois doubles up just like that. Now I'm going to throw this at you, 'cause now that you really got me thinking about this hand.
Yeah.
Okay, there's...
And again, when is this ever going to happen except to me this afternoon?
You know, it's interesting. Okay. I've got 4 spades, okay?
Right.
And I have 4 spades, and I bet into you, Bart. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you even raise me with the king of spades?
500 behind 5. Chips 5.
Well, usually not.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what most players do.
Right.
Let's really examine this. If there's 4 spades out there, okay,
Right.
and somebody bets into you, what do most players do with less than the nuts? And I'm talking about, let's say you have, let's say you know, the ace would be the nuts, obviously. Let's say somebody has the king, the queen, and the jack. Generally speaking, with those hands, it's just a crying call.
Yeah.
Or a call. Okay, because they figure, well, I have there's no value in raising this person because if I raise, I'm only going to get called by a better hand. So generally, they're just going to call you.
Right.
So now, I'm going to throw this little counter argument at you. Now, if there's 4 spades out there, okay, and you bet into me, okay, what am I generally raising you? I'm either raising you with the nuts
Or a pure bluff.
or a pure bluff, probably, because if I have a king or a queen, I'm probably just calling.
Right.
So now you have to really think of that, folks. And we've seen, we've seen over 1,500 hours of No Limit Hold'em, folks. It's not like I'm just pulling this out of my ass.
No, and it's just a thing where for that move to re-raise with the ace-high flush, there, you can take a look at George there, to re-raise with the ace-high flush, for you to make that move, you have to get called by an inferior hand that obviously does not beat you. Yeah,
Or re-raised by a hand that thinks you're bluffing and they can out-bluff you again.
exactly.
I mean, that might be the best play of it. Like, let's say I'm playing against somebody like Avo. Avo plays in our big games, and he's prone to making a move once in a while.
Right.
Let's say I make a move with a small spade. He makes a move with no spade. I re-raise him with a bigger. I re-raise him thinking he's got nothing, and he then moves all in.
Right.
You might induce a big bluff. You know? I'm just trying to think of a way that it actually becomes profitable, and that's one of the ways.
Right.
You induce
But
a
what
big
I'm
bluff.
saying, though, is, again, that conditional thing where if you do get, like, say, re-raised, are you ready to release your hand for all your chips?
Or ready to make a huge call. Either way.
I mean, the situation is just so far and few between. I think we've done it to death here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go off topic and interesting post here by the station on 2+2. Quote unquote, if you like to buy drugs, classic expense poker players can forget about when figuring, or can forget about when figuring out how much they need to go pro. And then Russ McGinley followed up by saying Matisow has a cell phone you can use too as well. Button has moved over here to seat 1.
Sorry.
About what? Having his name correct? Or
Boston's got ace-deuce suited. He's going to bring it in for 20 in the cutoff.
it's okay.
Interesting post here by Eagle73 and new to the 2+2. And his comment here is obviously very valid. You go to 2+2 to check it out. I don't want to read the whole thing here.
Yeah.
But yes, of course it's valid. Obviously, we get a lot of big players that are just, they're businessmen that have a lot of money.
Well, it looks like Kyle's outflopped Boston. Boston brought it in for a raise. Kyle called with 3-4 of hearts, and he's going to come out and bet here 7-3-6 on the board.
Now, it's interesting, though, from talking to a lot of players, like a lot of big businessmen, generally speaking, a lot of these businessmen either stop playing poker after a while because it's no fun losing every day, or they get a little better.
Wow, and you know what? Boston made the call here. The turn's a 10, and he picks up a diamond draw. He checks it, takes a card, and he made backdoor diamonds here.
This is one of those times, is he really going to get any money from Kyle?
Well, Kyle has a straight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he made a straight.
You're right.
Boston has these stone-cold nuts here. Kyle's going to bet 45. You know Boston's going to raise here. He backed into diamonds. And could you overbet this, thinking that maybe you were on a chop, and will you get a call from Kyle here? I mean, there are other hands that Kyle cannot beat here. 8, 9, and diamonds, obviously, right?
Yeah.
It's a $45 bet here.
He also can't be 8-4.
That's right. And he's going to raise. He's going to make it 150, pretty big.
A little bit of overbet of the pot there.
I like the play here on the river.
Yeah.
And look at this. Kyle doesn't even think twice about calling. Again, there are 3 hands, or actually more than 3 hands, any flush and 2 straights that can beat that hand on the river. And you're talking about a guy like Boston who we like his play. He's raising from the cutoff. You can't necessarily think he's playing it so ABC from the cutoff like he's got kings or aces there. I'm not necessarily saying that it's an immediate fold, but he immediately called.
I actually think Kyle's hand there was no better than a bluff catcher.
Yeah.
I don't think Boston raises with anything worse than a 4 there.
Right.
With anything.
He's not going to raise with 2 pair. Remember, guys, it was a 1-card straight out there. We talk about this all the time. Who is going to raise with 2 pair or even a set there?
Well, Boston's a good player. He's obviously not going to raise with just 2 pair or even a set.
Right.
He's raising with a straight or better there, and that's
right.
it.
Yep.
And with 3-4, all you have is a bluff catcher.
He took the card on the turn after picking up diamonds. 4-way action here. Limped around. King deuce 6 here. We got 2 people with kings. Wow. Seat 2 has the king. He's on the button. He's got king 7 with hearts.
Now, we saw this before. Almost identical hands. Somebody had king 7, somebody had king jack.
Yep.
And the king 7 never really got there.
Now, Kevin comes out and bets, and Kyle just calls. His hand is really big enough to make a move on one street. Well, he picks up the flush now.
Kyle makes the flush. He checks it. Kevin checks behind.
River's a 5.
Let's see how much Kyle bets.
Now, you probably would have bet there on the turn, right, Dave, with the king high flush?
Probably.
Yeah. Now, my other question to you is,
I don't want to give away all my secrets.
when you're playing top pair out of position, we can take a look at that board. Now, Kevin comes out and bets. Now, the pot was limped around. He comes out and bets here with king queen, or let's say he's got king jack. Okay?
Yes.
Then let's say Kyle raises. How can you continue on with king queen out of position? I mean, even if you raise the flop, it's puts the guy in a tough
Obviously,
spot.
you've got to look at the limitation of king queen there. Get our second chip count of the night.
Yep. How?
I mean, it just goes to talk about how limited king queen is.
Let's take a look at how these players are doing.
Well, Hav in the lead here. He's up over $350. Francois up over $250 there. And big loser James is having a bad day of it. Down $1,000.
Wow.
And obviously James is not there right now. He has locked up the seat. We'll have to see if he comes
Well,
back.
he made a rebuy. He lost 2 buy-ins.
Yeah.
Down $1,000. We're about an hour and 15 minutes into the show.
And just to touch on that little Darwin comment there in terms of, the best players will survive. Obviously, the bad players go home. Obviously, there are a lot of players that play just for entertainment. They'll play for 3 months. They'll take a break. They'll come in. They'll play for a couple of weeks. And obviously, those players will always be here.
Yeah, we see that a lot with players that are,
Right.
mediocre to poor. They'll come and you see them a lot. They'll lose money. Then they'll come back and, bring new money from whatever job that they've saved up that they do on the side, bring it back.
I mean, I guess I only brought up the Darwin comment really to answer somebody who's wondering why sit and goes were getting tougher. And that is a theory behind it, I guess.
6-way action here. Jack 7-7 limped around. The other thing about sit and goes, though, different from obviously a cash game, is that I think someone could actually write a mathematically correct way to play a party poker sit and go. I was actually having this conversation with Rick Nebbiolo as this gets checked around the
Look
flop.
at this now.
Wow.
Hobb had the best hand already, and now he's got full
Yep,
house here.
Turns a
6,
full
7,
house. He did not bet on the flop. And now he's going to bet, but no one has a 7. That's a great place for him to kill someone who was sandbagging a 7 on the flop. But
and
no
it's
one has
interesting
anything.
here. Trying to figure out a way.
Gus is open-ended here.
Yeah, now, it says that Hobb is 94%, which would mean that he can chop it. I'm trying to figure out how can he chop it.
Let me see.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're right.
And the river would have been a 7. Wow, terrible card for Hobb.
Yeah, that would have been awful. What I was going to say, Dave, was I think that there actually can be, and people have written books about it, and I don't actually not privy to this information, maybe some people in internet land are, the mathematical correct way with these setups for party poker sit and goes. Rick was talking to me about this earlier, about how, it is correct at a certain level to push in when you're small blind, big blind with any 2 cards.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because of the value of the dead money in there
Right.
and such. So sit and goes are a little bit different. Seat number 8 is going to raise it up here with pocket jacks. And he's going to take it down here without a flop.
Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You're watching No Limit Hold'em. The lines are 5 and 5.
Yep.
You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. Tomorrow night's our big game. It's a No Limit Hold'em game with blinds of $25.50. Yes, you heard me correctly. The blinds are $25.50. It is a minimum buy-in of $3,000, unrestricted max buy-in.
Button moves over here to Kevin in seat 6.
He's cracking, Boston cream pie. Even great stop. This is not bad, unless everybody agrees to do it.
3 players.
We're going to see three-way action here. Limped around. Queen 6-5. Looks like Jack 5 is the best hand right now. It's checked around. Turns at 10. Kyle's got hearts now. Heart draw.
2 players.
Seat 2 bets 10, and Kyle is just going to make the call. And the river's a deuce. Edward picked up the best hand on the turn, and now he has the best hand, and he gets checked down on the river.
He's going to take it down. Get an email here from Bernie Makatange. Haven't gotten an email from him in a while. Thank you. Talks about tournaments and taxes. And basically his question comes down to is, hey, don't winners in the tournament get screwed and the money win because they have to pay taxes?
Well, I think actually one of the things he was confused, the way that he words this question, is that he says, in a $10,000 buy-in tournament, the prize pool is 10,000 times the number of players. This pool is all post-tax since everyone buys in for $10,000. Now the payout is taxed by the government. Don't the winners get screwed out of what is taxed? Well, the prize pool isn't post-taxed. The prize pool is what the actual money is. Then when you win the tournament, you get the money withheld. But the prize pool does not, it's not when they announce the prize pool post-tax.
Actually, your money's not, most casinos will not withheld. They'll just report it.
Well, I knew that they did at the World Series for American players this year, didn't they? The Rio withheld money, didn't they?
For American players?
Yeah.
I think for foreign players, yeah.
Maybe it was the other way around.
Yeah, they didn't withhold any money from me.
Oh, okay.
In the 2 tournaments I cashed in.
But they will give you a W2G form.
Yeah,
right?
I got a WTG form.
Yeah. Got a little bet here by seat number 9, Boston, with Jack 10. He's got seat 1, actually, Billy, with Jack 10 offsuit, and he doesn't have anything, and he's going to take it down.
One of the reasons, actually, why a lot of players, a lot of really good poker players, don't play tournaments.
I think you were right, actually, because I remember them saying something about, I don't know if it was with English players or with Canadian players, that the Rio or Harris was supposed to withhold the money from their tournaments, and they didn't.
Oh.
And any time they were going to come and try to sign up for a new tournament, they had them on file because everyone had to register this year.
Right.
And they owe that money if they want to enter another tournament.
Wow.
So, and I maybe someone else again knows more about that.
But obviously, I mean,
there.
that is poker earnings or gambling earnings, they consider it. And unless you offset them with gambling losses,
Right.
yes, of course, you owe any earnings you owe your
it's
fair
income.
share to
It's
the
income.
IRS.
Please don't use that word fair share, because I'm going to puke if you do that. You can tell my fiscal conservative background coming through there.
But it is definitely the reason, a lot of the reason why I know a lot of big tournament players that just now started playing tournaments because of the other benefits, namely TV benefits and so forth.
Well, the
endorsements.
ancillary money that comes from endorsements and such.
But a lot of players, like Liz Liu, actually never played tournaments, and one of the reasons being is she
Well, it's a
didn't wanna
no-brainer for her.
She didn't want to. Right.
Right.
But before there was TV, she said, "Why do I have to worry about why do I want to report what I'm making?"
Why do you think the biggest players in the world that make a lot of money from side games and cash games only play in $10,000 televised tournaments?
Right.
Some of those guys weren't even playing in the other events at the Rio.
Yeah.
Only the televised ones.
Yeah.
We got a raise here out of the seat 5. He had posted, and he's going to make it 35 to go with ace-queen. Pocket nines is going to call Kevin in seat 6, and we are heads up. About a $75 pot. Well, there's the queen, queen 310. Look at this, James checks it. And Kevin checks right behind him. Wow. Turns a jack. It's a third diamond.
Well, now Kevin's open-ended.
And it goes check, check again. And the river's a king. And now both players have a straight. James obviously has a higher straight. And he bets 100. I mean, for James, are you going to put some money in there with ace-queen? I mean, my goodness. He almost played it like he had pocket eights, right?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is you're wondering, Kevin here, obviously, now this is one of those cases, would a guy bet a hand worse than an ace? Probably not.
Well,
Good lay down, I got to tell you, good lay down by
so?
Kevin.
I mean, I might even call there with nines. That hand was played out so strangely. But I think the guy might have like a lower pair.
I mean, you're right.
Either that or I guess ace-king.
Right. Well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
the guy either has the ace or he's completely bluffing.
Right, exactly.
He's not betting with two pairs.
No. No way.
Nines are pretty much just a bluff catcher.
Yeah.
Service.
But I guess the way Kevin played the hand too, he just said, you know what, I don't want to get any money. I didn't play the hand hard. I gave up on the hand. I don't want to lose any money in the river now.
No, he got him. He's got his menu.
Got some great promotions going on, folks. The LA poker scene, obviously the home of the $500,000 free roll. If you sign up with the bonus code of what is it?
5x 500K.
Thank you, 5x 500K. Get golden bars to play in the first part of the tournament.
Button here in seat 1 is raise it up to 20 with queen jack. We've got 3 callers. So it's about an $80 pot. Ace 5-5 here. And look at Kyle. He's not in the hands. He would have flopped the full house.
You can also check out poker4ever.com. That's poker for the number.
But look at Edward. Edward's got trip 5s. Billy makes a continuation bet. Edward checked it from up front. And let's see how he's going to continue to play it here. No one has an ace.
120.
And he's going to check raise the flop with the 3 5s. And obviously, Billy has absolutely nothing here, Dave.
60 more.
Now, the issue here, though, too, is I like the way that 6-5 is played. Some people will bet into the razor. Some will check raise. Would this guy fold ace-king in this spot? I mean, would you fold ace-king in this spot after getting check raised? I mean, obviously it depends on the player.
Yeah.
You have position on the guy.
I definitely fold queen jack.
Well, yeah.
That's for sure.
And he does.
Yeah, ace king, I don't know.
Yeah.
Riveting commentary there, huh? I don't know. This is actually my favorite promotion. I got to tell you, I love this one. For 1 nickel, you can get a $15,000 package to the World Series of Poker. You get $1,000 for airfare, $1,000 of mad money.
Yep.
You get 10 nights in Las Vegas, plus a $10,000 buy-in, $10,000 seat at the World Series of Poker. For a nickel.
Wow. Interesting. You know how you had asked that question about how would Hob chop that hand? If a 7 had come on the river, which it would have come, because we could see the rabbit cam and the rabbit was
Yeah.
a 7, he would chop it versus the other 8-6.
Oh, somebody else had a 6.
Yeah,
Okay.
someone else had 8-6 there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, RX Cowbell.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And Funky Worms right after that. I guess that's why I love the show being interactive.
Right.
Obviously, we are live. We're unedited, unscripted.
Oreo God has said, I want to refute your ideas of limit being a dying game. If interest in poker dies out and the pool won't refill, no limit will die out much faster. It's happened before. If it has to happen again, no limit dies out faster than limit. Attorneys will probably thrive, though.
Yeah, I don't think Limit Hold'em's going to die out. I mean, I think it's still I still think it's an exciting game that is played by a
I'm the
lot of
one
people.
that said that it was a dying game.
Did you?
I think, the reason why I said that was because if you just take a look at the games that are spread here or anywhere else, No Limit is just pretty much just taking over.
Well, it's funny. The funny thing is that we've got, but we'll have I think we've got 6 or 7 3-6 limit games.
Right.
And then 6 or
And
7
8
4
16s,
8s.
right.
We've got a bunch of those small ones. But when you start getting up to the upper games,
Yeah.
the higher games, we only have, say, 2 20-40 games, maybe 2 30-60 games. but we've got like 4 or $500 games, no limit hold'em.
8-deuce-8 here on the flop. Boston brought this one in with King Jack. And James is going to fold. The best hand, Boston makes the continuation bet there. And actually what I was going to say is we're actually a unique casino in the fact that our $200 no-limit games and our $100 no-limit games are up in the plaza. Because you can actually make, in terms of the size of that game, is an equivalent to the 8-16 game, which is not in our plaza.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the more I think about that, there's probably comparable amounts of different games that size. 8-16, 200 no limit.
Yeah, similar.
Such.
So. Dito also jumped on that that bandwagon. Let me know how it would be a chop pot. I appreciate that. I missed the 8-6.
And a straddle and a raise to 20.
Straddle here by Kevin and a mini raise to 20 with King Queen and seat 8. I just have King Queen offsuit. I mean, I have absolutely no idea why you would raise to 20 with King Queen off from second position in the straddle pot, but he does it.
You're building a pot.
Yeah, building a
Pot
pot
builder.
with King Queen offsuit under the gun, or in second position here. And he's going to get called by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players here. And he's dominated by Hob if a queen comes. Well, it does not come. 5,
Wow.
4, 3.
And this is like an ugly flop for every single player.
No one has a pair.
Nobody has a draw.
It's a $140 pot.
Nobody has a draw. Nobody has a pair.
And it
Nobody
gets
has anything.
checked around the turns of 5. Well, the ace, if it caught a deuce, would have a straight, the ass end of a wheel.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Right. But
Hob is in full command of this hand. Let's see if he
this
bets.
is amazing.
Nobody wants it though.
It's a $140 pot. And Gus is going to bet 35 into
Okay.
a $140 pot.
Now let me throw this at you. If you're Hob, tell me how is it possible that Gus can have any of this? Think about it. He checked the flop.
It's almost like Barry Woods. Sometimes we see him do that when it gets checked to him twice. He'll throw in a little bet, but you know he doesn't have anything.
If somebody bets an early position,
Right.
easy for them to check, hoping for a check raise. But Gus is going to check on the button with a real hand,
Well, he's going to take it down. Now, how would you have played that with ace queen?
and the river's a jack. Gus would have got there. I guess he knew it was coming.
Right.
I mean, I tell you, it was also a pretty weak bet. I don't know. I might have raised him.
But, I mean, you do have, like, 5 people behind you.
They all
as well.
checked twice too. What? Somebody sandbagging 2 streets? Okay. Hey, I got to tell you, I might raise him. I might throw $200 in the pot and see what happens. If I get raised, so be it. Or if I get called, so be it.
Yep.
Double Malibu chicken. I'm all over that. I love that. That's good stuff. That is white trash man. You know, to tell you the truth, if somebody talks on the table more than me, I'll get a note.
Oh, no, he's coming.
And we get 22 Skidoo also concurring with the Darwinian thing. And they're right. I mean, there are players like Ed. I played with a player, this guy Tony, who's a real estate mogul. He's
Right.
got millions and millions of dollars. Great guy. He obviously plays and doesn't care about the money and is there to enjoy himself.
5-way action here. Limped around. Jack 9-3. Doesn't look like anybody's got top pair
No,
here.
Kevin's open-ended.
We are missing
Jack 9.
7-4 of hearts, which is Gus, but that doesn't make any difference. Seed 6 is going to come out and bet here. Kevin is open-ended. Francois actually has the best hand with middle pair. He folds. And Kevin's probably going to take this one down with a little semi-bluff
Yeah,
here.
it's a nice semi-bluff.
45.
And he makes a good point. He says in LA, there's always new wealth.
Right.
You've got people coming in who have money, and there's always going to be that influx of money that comes in.
And the other
Obviously,
interesting thing, too, at the end is, you know, sometimes these players convince themselves, or they are convincing themselves that he's basically breaking even or, quote-unquote, a little down.
right.
Right.
Of course. I mean, isn't everybody?
Right,
If you,
right.
if you ask any player, should you beat the game? Yeah, I'm probably even, maybe a little up, maybe a little down, but I'm having a good time.
Right.
And in the end, hey, as long as they're having a good time, that's all that matters.
Button moves over here to seat 5. And this game is tightened up a little bit. Now, Hop's got pocket 5s. He's in the cutoff. But Gus has got queen jack offsuit. He's going to limp, and Hob is going to limp. And it's going to get limped around here. 5-way action.
You guys make me shout and you guys don't shout.
Well, 8-6-3 with a couple of clubs. Didn't really hit anybody big here.
How much?
Looks like Hob has the best hand, and he's going to come out and bet.
20.
Bets 20 here. And he's probably going to take it down.
Oh my God, man.
Wow, is this actually right? I'm reading the 2+2 post from Jay Siegel. He says for Canadian players, 30% of tournament winnings is withheld by the casino and transferred to the Canadian government.
And then the winner can file some forms to request the money come back from the government. You don't think that...
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you though, it's bad enough. It's bad enough to. It's hard enough to win a tournament already. But if I know 30% of my winnings is gonna go right to my own government.
Yeah, but
Man,
remember,
that's tough.
Canada is more of a kind of a socialized country. They're taking more money.
No, I have no
obviously.
problem with that. But you're talking
Yeah.
about tournament winnings. Man, that's tough.
Well, I mean, if you're making over $100,000 a year, even in this country, aren't they going to withhold 30% of your money as federal income tax from any job that you make?
Yeah, unless of course you can show that you have gambling losses that match your
Well,
gambling
obviously
winnings.
deductions too in the corporate world as well. Seat one's got pocket kings here. He's raised to 35. And seat number
2 players have Jack
7
10.
is going to call. Seat 9 is to call. Boston and Francois are in there. Kyle's not in the hand. So he's got about $100 pot going 3 ways here. Oh, overpair to the board here for Billy.
Well, not a very good flop for Jack 10, huh?
Yeah.
Flop is 8-4-4.
Assuming somebody's phone's not on vibrate. Nah, man.
He's got a 96% chance. Obviously, Francois and Boston could catch running straights here, right?
Yes, they could.
9 queen would give them a chop win.
All in.
And he just moves all in here, Dave. Again, kind of the same move that we saw earlier in the night with the overpair. If anyone had a 4, he is betting $600 into a pot that's $100. And like you said before, if you've been noticing this, you can make calls against raises where you think he might have a big hand like an overpair, right?
Well, mental note, I mean, some players will move all in with a big draw. He moves all in with a big overpair.
Right.
Good look at Brian there. Brian's one of our better deals. I got to tell you, I like the new blue shirt they wear. Much better.
There's 2 other words that I just all in. There's like 60, 70, Jack. Shout out. That's fuck you. Literally.
20.
You take me to a real lobster dinner and not this bike dinner that you take.
Button moves over there to Francois. Francois's got an ace-jack of hearts. Now, Gus is going to raise it up to 20 here with queen 9 of spades. And Francois is going to re-raise. He's going to make it 80 from the button. Kyle's got pocket 6s. It's 60 more for Kyle to call. He's pretty deep, and so is Francois. Now, when you're up against a raise and a re-raise, you might put a guy on an overpair here, obviously, and he is going to make the call. Now, again, you've got to take into account the player that you're playing against. Like, against a guy like Francois, maybe I like 15 or 20 times my money because I know he might be able to get away from aces if I show him a lot of heat on a board when I flop a set. Now, obviously, against players that are kind of, maybe recreational players, very difficult for any of those guys to get away from overpairs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult for anybody to get
Right.
over big pocket pairs.
So here we go. It's about a $180 pot. Oh, queen 10-4 here. Kyle actually has the best hand now. Francois got a gut shot with a couple
And
overcards.
this is the problem with sixes here. You have no idea where you're at. Now, Francois is actually, it's not a bad flop for him at all. He's got backdoor heart draw. He's got a gut shot straight draw plus overcards.
Dave, he's bet 60 into a pot that's about 180. He's bet 1/3 of the pot. Kyle's not going to get involved.
But it gets the job done, and Francois takes it down.
Yep.
Well done. Get an email here from
Chris in
What is this?
Wisconsin.
Thank you, that helps.
Chris in
Much better.
Wisconsin.
He says, good game tonight. And he says, the game tonight is my standard game. He says, what is your opinion on raises with big pocket pairs, say jacks, queens, kings, and aces in late position? He wants to know, how much do you raise, and how do you know how much to raise? And obviously, in all different cases. And we appreciate the email there, Chris. Appreciate it. Any advice there, Bart?
Well, I mean, obviously, I want to be raising it enough where, I don't want 6 people to call. Yeah.
Get a live straddle here from seat 3.
Yeah. I think it depends on the game. I mean, again, these questions, we appreciate them all, but there's not one answer that we can give you that's going to be an absolute answer.
You know, my wife hates that answer too, and I always, whenever
It
she asks me a poker
depends,
question,
right?
I always go, it depends.
Right. Three-way action here. This pot was straddled and it got limped around. Ace 3-8 here. Now Gus has got second pair, and Kyle's got an ace, and he comes out and bets. He bets 35 here to a pot that's about 30. Kyle plays it pretty ABC, Dave.
Yeah.
It's very rare that he's going to be bluffing. I mean, does Gus really want to get involved here with Queen 8?
He makes his hand, he checks it, hoping to check raise. Boston in there with backdoor diamond draw. He's going to get rid of it.
Yep.
Now, the only reason I answered this question, and it's a quick little thing I do want to say. Oftentimes people get caught up with saying, well, should I raise 3 times the big blind or 2 times the big blind? And in a no-limit game, the one thing I've learned over the last year, I think it's less relevant what the blinds are in a cash game. And the thing that's more relevant is how big is your stack.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm in the 200 game where the blinds are 3 and 5, right? But I have $2,100 behind me.
Right.
And the player over there has also got $2,100 behind them. And I only make it, say, 2 or 3 or even 4 times the blind with aces. Well, he's got the implied odds to call me with almost any 2 cards. So you really have to make your raises dependent upon stack sizes at the table and how that table is playing. So keep that in mind.
We got a little raise here by the button here, Boston at 25. C2 is going to call it. I'll give you an example here, Dave, because obviously I've been playing the 5-10 game here every afternoon for the last couple months. We're going to see 4-way action here.
4 players.
Well, ace-10 queen here, and Hava's got top and bottom on this board. See if he leads into it. But look at this, seat number 2, Kyle is going to lead into that board, and that might be a hand that you just check and fold. I mean, he leads in with ace-6 into 3 people. I mean, with a pre-flop raiser and a bunch of callers, don't you think that hits somebody? Is that the type of flop you're looking for?
I got to tell you, it puts Hav in a tough spot.
Yeah.
The only thing you're wondering if you're Hav, though, is would
Right.
this guy get a straight or would he check it and try to slow play it?
I know what's up. Yeah, I just haven't been over there.
Could he be betting ace-jack, ace-king here?
I mean, the thing is, with the way Kyle plays so far,
Right.
I would suspect that if he had made either ace-queen or straight here with king-jack, he'd probably check it.
And Javi's going to raise here, Dave. He stacks up. It's about a $100 bet. He's announced raise.
It really puts him in a tough spot because he's got to commit an awful lot of his stack.
He's going to make it 200 more, which means the pot now is about, I want to say, 480. And it's going to be 200 for Kyle to call. Obviously, he's not going to call.
Yeah, this is an easy lay down by Kyle.
Sometimes you say, well, sometimes I just take a shot at it and hope that everybody folds. But against a pre-flop raiser and several callers, it's just, again, why are you in the hand here with ace-6 of diamonds from up front? But still, it's just...
And if you're going to call a raise with ace-6 of diamonds, you're not looking for this flop,
No.
folks.
No way.
Keep it in mind.
Yeah.
This would be considered a poor flop for ace-6.
Right. But, it's funny that you said, and obviously Hav is paying attention.
Cool, sure.
It's interesting, as the turn would have brought in S6, I can see on the rabbit here. It's interesting because it would put me in a tough situation, too, when a guy leads out at you like that. Now, because we've been paying attention, he probably wouldn't lead out with Queen-Jack there, or whatever the straight was, King-Jack.
It all depends. If I'm playing with you and I lead into you,
That's
Bart,
tough for me.
Yeah, really tough.
Because it's a rainbow board.
Yeah,
So, you're not doing this with some sort of flush draw.
Right, I might lead into you with ace-king, but I might lead into you with king-jack.
Yeah.
Really puts you in a tough spot.
Yeah.
And with players behind you yet to act, man.
Yeah.
So you were going to talk about something that happened today in a 5-10 game or recently?
Oh, I'm saying that my standard raise in a 5-10 game is usually with a big pocket pair or a suited connector in the last couple spots, 60 to 65. So that's 6 to 7 times the big blind. Some people might say, oh, that's a huge raise. That's usually what people bring it in for.
Yeah.
So it all depends.
It all depends on how much money everybody has here.
Right.
King 9-9 flop here, rainbow. And seat 1, Billy's got king 3. Nobody has a 9.
Got checked around here, turns at 10.
And that doesn't change anything here. Gus has got a 10, but the king is still in the lead.
Yeah, Billy in seat 1. And now Kevin is going to come out and bet with pocket deuces. He bets 30 here. Turns a 10 of diamonds.
Yeah, and Billy is just pretty much just calling mode here. I don't think he's going to bet. River's a 5 there.
Yeah.
5 of clubs. And imagine it's going to check. And the king is good. Billy takes it down. Now, I'll throw this at you. There are sometimes if I'm playing a short-handed 5-10 game or even a 10-20 game where I look around and nobody has that much money.
Yeah.
Well, then sometimes I'm only raising it. Let's say I'm in a 5-10 game. I might only be raising it up to $30 or even $25.
Right.
Because it's kind of a short game. The other night I was playing a short game with, say, Rose and a couple other players, and everybody really only had, say, between 500 and maybe 1,100 at the table. So I could raise it up a little smaller. But sometimes if I'm playing with, say, Corporation Mike and Jay and Alan, and everybody's got $4,000 or $5,000, well, hey, you've got to raise it up to $70 or $80.
Right. Obviously. Well, sometimes we see the standard raise in that game is 200 for the
Yeah.
game, a 10-20 game. I mean, the game I was playing, I couldn't see a flop for under 200, right? I was getting squeezed in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Live straddle here by Kevin. And you know what? Boston's going to bring it in for a raise with pocket sixes, and we're heads up here.
Pot's about $90, I want to
Yeah.
say, $80.
King, queen, jack here. Kevin's got top here, and he's bottom end of the open-ended straight draw.
What an ugly flop for sixes, but Boston's going to give a shot at it. He's going to take
Well,
a
he's
shot.
going to make a continuation bet. He bets 60.
Now, Kevin's hand is strong enough to raise here. It's a rainbow board. He's got top pair. He's open-ended. If the guy has ace-king, okay. I don't mind putting some money in the pot. It's a really scary board to call a raise with.
Well, he's going to make the check call here. And here we go to the turn. Turns a 9, and there's the straight.
And he makes it.
There he goes, check. And here we go to the river. River's in the 8.
Imagine Kevin's going to put a little bit of money in the pot here. He's got the straight. Obviously, the W signifies he has won as long as it goes to showdown.
Yeah, the only thing that he would lose to here is ace 10.
Yeah. And he's going to move all in, it looks like, for about over $200. And I don't think Boston's going to call. Yeah, Boston throws it away quickly. Oftentimes, and the only reason I point out that flop there, the flop is king, queen, jack, rainbow. And even though that flop is scary for you, and in that case it was scary for Kevin, you've got to realize that oftentimes a scary flop, if it's scary for you, it's probably scary for your opponent too. And if you raise that, you've got to think of the hands they can't call you with. You know?
We had an email here from DJ Lee kind of explaining. He said that situation with taxes I was talking about was with UK players that aren't regular tournament players. He said that we have U.S. has a tax treaty with the UK, allowing the people from the UK to take all of their tournament winnings without having anything withheld. However, you need a special form that the Rio staff, he said, were incredibly unhelpful with. So people that were just playing recreationally or weren't privy to the exact law didn't
Really?
have.
And do they have to pay taxes in England on those earnings?
Well, he said that in the UK, it's considered gambling and it's lucky and they don't tax him. So my question
Wow.
about Joseph Hashem is that everyone said, well, Australia didn't tax him. But he still got taxed here, right? You still get taxed here, don't you?
I'm not sure.
8-5 deuce here with a couple diamonds. James has got diamonds. As far as I knew, when you make income in this country, you're subject to taxes in this country. Maybe someone can help me out there. Boston is going to bet here.
James has got a flush draw. See how James plays
James
it.
makes the call.
He calls, heads up here. Turn is a deuce here.
Yeah.
And this is one of those times where if you raise with your draws, you can take the hand away very easily here. Now if this hand goes to the river and both players miss, Boston's going to win with king high.
Well, James just folds here with the paired board. And again, there's a difference between people saying, well, in certain tournaments here that I know that are foreign, they didn't take taxes out. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that the foreign people aren't, I guess, responsible, because they might have to claim it when they come back going out of the country or coming back into their own country. Yeah, they might not withhold it. We all know that means nothing in terms of tax liability in this country, if anything's withheld from you or not.
Maybe we'll bring our
Russ Fox.
yeah, we need a poker accountant.
That is interesting.
We'll get him on the show one day. We'll do a little, quick little
I wonder
5-minute interview.
if there are some accountants that are specialized in, say, with the boom of poker, say gambling winnings and how that works.
I'm sure.
And such, internet poker and all that.
I'm sure. Somebody Google it for us. Let us know.
5-way action here, limped around. Well, we got an ace-queen and an ace-deuce in here. And Francois is going to lead out with ace-queen. The flop is ace-8-4. Now, let's see if Billy is going to get in trouble. He actually has ace-4 over there, not ace-deuce, my bad. So he has 2 pair. Well, he's got a better hand then. And he's going to raise. He's going to make it 50 to go. Looked like an ace-deuce in the window there.
And this is interesting here. How is Francois going to play this year?
Well, it was an unraised pot, I believe.
Unraised pot. Oh, man.
100 more.
It's 100 more. And this is the question I had to you. If you had ace-king or ace-queen in a spot like this, you bet out the flop from early position. You get raised on an undraw-heavy board. How do you continue playing the hand?
Well, you might raise one time and see where he's at.
Now, ace-queen,
The problem is
there's
Francois out of position.
there's one more hand that you can't beat with ace-queen besides 2 pair, obviously. But it was limped around. Francois, obviously, he's not going to be able to take that phone call. Or his hand should be dead if he's taking it.
Hey, you got to get up. It's going to be killed, Francois.
We are on a 5-minute delay, obviously, to protect the integrity of the game. So people always say, well, what if someone's texting him information here, Dave? Well, they're not, because we're on a 5-minute delay.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not hearing this yet,
Right.
folks.
It's 5 minutes later.
And just to test it, I am saying this at 8:42 p.m.
Right.
Let me know on 2+2 when you hear that.
Right. And whenever we have a hand that we actually have that runs long, we actually have a countdown timer in here. And we kill the hand before it catches up to the delay.
Wow, and Billy moves all in.
Well, Francois
Wow.
re-raised it.
Yeah, he
Francois
did.
re-raised it, and Billy moved all in. And this is what you were saying. Francois made a mini raise back up to 100. Francois moved all in. The funny thing about this guy is he's been doing that with single pair before. But now I think Francois has his information.
Yeah, but he put it single pair over pair.
Remember, this isn't a raised pot either, so.
Nah, it's an easy laydown for Francois.
Yeah.
He shows the ace-queen. He knows they're garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, and this guy, they both have about $500 more. I think Francois's got to get away from this. I mean, you got to realize there's no draw out there.
Yeah.
Now, oftentimes if there's a straight draw or flush draw, you might put your opponent on a big semi-bluff. But in this case, come on, what could he have?
Right.
And suddenly we lost the cards.
You want me to talk? Which one?
Suddenly we've lost the cards. On the screen,
Yeah.
Francois still hasn't thrown his hand away, folks.
You know what? I call.
And
And he's going to make the call. He makes the
Francois
call with
calls.
ace-queen. Oh, wow. Again, we're ace-4 against ace-queen.
He needs a
Francois
7,
needs
an 8, or a
help.
queen.
And it does not come, and ace-4 is going to take it down there.
Yeah, and the turn obviously picks up a little more outs there. If the board pair is not a 4 or an ace, obviously, if a 7, an 8, or a queen were to come,
Yeah.
wow. He would have won it down.
Unbelievable. And look at that. I mean, that's about a
that's a $1,200 pot.
pot. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and Francois, that's just a bad call.
Yeah.
And he watched the show. I'm good friends with the guy. He's a good poker player, but he definitely overplayed his hand there. He bet in with the ace-queen, which I
Yeah.
like. He got raised, and he didn't immediately throw it away because, hey, a guy might raise with ace-jack or ace-10.
Yeah.
So he re-raised him to see where he was
I thought
at.
that he was going to fold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
There's no. Oftentimes you can call if you can put your opponent on a draw.
Well, my question to you, Dave, is possibility that what might have been running through Francois' head there was this guy had been moving in with one pair the whole time. Although he couldn't lose to ace-king, but it wasn't raised pre-flop. So might you think the guy has ace-jack or something like that?
Come on, no. You bet the guy raised you, you re-raised, and now he's re-raised you all in?
No. Hey, I'm just saying.
Come on,
playing
one
devil's
pair
advocate.
just can't be good there.
Now, Kyle's got pocket queens, and he's going to raise. And look at this. Francois is going to re-raise in the small blind. I think he might be all in to 90. He's got ace-jack of diamonds. And Kyle is going to come back over the top, all in. And I'm not sure if Francois rebought. I don't think he did. I think that's all his money there. And he has just kind of steamed off the rest of his money there. He's all in here.
Yeah.
He's 500 behind. Wait a minute. Kyle has moved all in. Francois re-raised it to 80, and Kyle moved all in. So Francois is 500 behind. So this is an easy laydown as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pissed off. And we talk about how money is won and lost through steaming, Dave.
Yeah. You can play great poker 96% of the time,
Yeah.
and if the other 4% of the time you let your emotions get the best of you,
Yeah.
well, you cannot be a professional poker player.
Yeah. And he makes the call, Dave. This is unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
And Francois went from being up 250
Yeah.
to now he might be down 1,000. And
I
he's
mean,
in bad shape.
he really steamed his money off here.
Yeah.
He's going to need to catch an ace and an ace only here. Wow. I mean, what a great example. And we have respect for Francois' game, but if you cannot control that factor of the game, that's it for you, right?
Yeah, we've seen players like this. Sylvester also plays.
Right.
He plays probably 90% of the time. He plays really good poker.
Yeah.
Francois does it 90% of the time. He plays good poker. But if you steam the other 10%, man,
Yeah. I mean, not only did he probably not play that like he would have played it, you get a raise from Kyle in mid-position. Francois, if he's playing well, is he going to re-raise out of the small blind with ace-jack of diamonds?
I don't mind the first raise. I got to be honest with you. I don't mind the first raise up to $80. When the guy re-raises you
To 500.
throw it away.
Well, this is kind of the same thing with the hand before, right? With the $100 re-raise for information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I don't think Francois played the beginning of either one of those hands badly.
Yeah.
His two calls were bad, and he knows it.
I want to get back to this point by 22 Skidoo. I think we actually missed a little bit of his point. I think he was saying about the no limit versus limit that maybe we haven't seen guys like Ed and some other players that have a lot of money in the no limit games because they can lose a lot, whereas limit, maybe the losses seem like less than they do in no limit.
Well, of course.
And I think, well, that's a point that's definitely
No,
well
it
taken.
definitely is a post.
Yeah.
Definitely a point. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the no-limit players, if you're a really bad no-limit player, you
Right.
can go broke very quickly.
Right.
But in limit hold'em, you know what? You get a lucky draw out here, a lucky draw out there. Hey, you can probably hold on.
Another post here on 2+2. What percentage of live players make money? I've seen that only 7% of online players make money. I would assume with a 10% rake on live play, that the number of winners would be less.
I'm just curious where the stats of 7%
I don't know.
of online players.
I
make
know
money.
that you can look at Poker Tracker, which is, I don't know. I don't think you use it, but I use it. I know what it is. And usually you can see the fact that at least, say, 65% of internet players are losers.
Okay.
Now we're going to take a look at it. Ship
And look
count.
at Billy now. Billy's now, he is dominating here. 1,400.
Now let's take a look at the differences here.
Yeah, look at that. Billy up 900.
And I think that Francois actually, is that about right, you think? 825?
that is right.
Yeah. Yep.
That is right.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Limped around here 6 ways, 7-6-4, all clubs. Doesn't look like anybody has a high club.
No, nobody does.
You know, it's kind of like you learn something every day here when you watch the show, and this is just a perfect example of what can be won and lost through
Money
scheming,
management.
right?
You just
Yeah,
Oh, it's more emotional management, if you want
right,
to say anything.
right.
Really? So this poker tracker, you can tell how much somebody's made?
Yeah, you know exactly how much, for the hands that you have played with them, how much they're up or down.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary.
They track everything, Dave. And the river here is a jack. Billy and Kyle are in the hand. Kyle's
Yeah.
got top pair. He's going to throw a little stop
Actually,
bet out
Kyle's
here.
got 2 pair. 7-6.
Yes, he's got top 2 pair. He did not bet the flop.
Yeah, Billy was drawing dead on the turn.
But look at
Actually, not dead. He could have had a straight up.
Billy is going to check raise the river as a bluff with a mediocre hand that he might just have called with. He has check raised the river here.
But how
Wow.
much?
75 more, about the pot.
Wow. It's an interesting play. The only thing
Yeah.
you're wondering is what did the Jack of Hearts do?
Right.
I mean, you're looking at
Maybe
going,
he flopped the nut flush here, Dave,
well,
or
that's
something
what
like that.
I mean, that's how he's playing it. Like he slow played with something.
But Kyle's going to pay him off with 2 pair there.
Yeah,
Wow.
he is.
And that's good. And the hand does not mean any difference. And wow.
Wow, and Billy did Billy not even show?
No, he did. I think somebody asked at the table to see the
Oh,
hand.
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to play a bluff where it makes sense. You know, if it doesn't make sense, obviously your opponent's not going to believe you.
Right. Oh, here we go. It's 11:48. That's a long delay.
What did I say? 11:42. What did I say? Oh, right. Well,
Right,
obviously,
right.
3 hours there, but we're talking a 6-minute delay there. Thank you, Baron. Appreciate it.
Right.
And Isaac's telling me it's exactly 5.
Well, I think
so
we use a DVR here to do it, so
Well, there
he
you
should
go.
know. Pretty
He would know.
precise, right?
I would
Yeah.
definitely.
Just punch in the delay. Buttons over here in seat 9.
So what is it? Do you think that's factual? 7% of online.
Well, I
players
don't
make
know
money?
if it's that, but I'll get into this again after this hand. Again, and the funny, we have a raise here by seat 8 with Ace Queen. A recent Party Poker update, Dave, I believe does not allow you to save observed hands onto your hard drive, whereas before they had these programs called like a Party Mine, where you could basically mine data. You could run this program on your computer, and you could leave for the day. And you would get tens of thousands of hands worth of information on games that you weren't in, but you were just had open up at the table.
I don't understand
observing.
how you guys play online. I mean, why would I want to play in a game where somebody can get that much information about me?
And
Man.
they also had this software program called Poker Edge, which is now outlawed on certain sites, but you can run it remotely and they can't detect it, that actually is a massive database of mined data, and they can say, okay, Dave, I'm going to pay Poker Edge this, and they're going to tell me all your information for every hand you've ever played, because they've had every hand you've ever played open.
Wow.
So,
I mean, some people can argue, well, hey, why would I play on Live at the Bike then? But Live at the Bike is only 3 hours a night.
right.
You know, and somebody's got to go through the effort of actually going through the
Yeah.
archives.
Now, I think that with the Party Poker update, I think you cannot do the observed hands thing anymore, but you always used to be able to.
Yeah.
Now, Gus is going to raise it up to 25 here out of the blind with Ace King. Hob is going to call here. It looks like a Jack 9 of clubs.
I mean, if somebody goes through the archives and takes the effort to go through every single hand, okay,
Yeah.
hey, so be it.
Right.
I'm not going to call. Well, it's your turn.
He's got Jack 9. We see his hand.
Yeah.
Jack 9 of clubs.
Four-way action here. Queen 6-3. A couple diamonds. Kevin's got bottom set here. Doesn't look like anyone has much here.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, nobody's got much of anything.
Yeah. Gus is going to come out and bet here. Let's see how Kevin's going to play it.
Well, Gus has the king of diamonds, so he does have backdoor flush draw possibilities.
80 down.
Hob is going to fold.
Wow,
James.
Gus made it 80.
Yeah. So let's see how Kevin's going to play this.
Now, he does have position on his opponent, and he's just going to call. He's got to hope for an ace or a king
There
there.
was no one behind him either. Turns at 10.
Well, now Gus has got outs. He needs a jack on the river.
It's about a $250 pot here. And what is Gus going to do right now?
And he's out of position here.
Yeah.
Can't like his spot.
Doesn't seem like Kevin's the type of player, Dave, that makes calls with king, queen, where he would just be calling with a weak queen at this point.
Well, the only problem with the flop is, how do you know that Kevin doesn't have, say, ace jack of diamonds?
Right. Well, Gus is going to check, and Kevin looks like he's going to bet. He's going to move all in here, and his hands are a little bit trembling there, which is kind of a tell. If you saw that. It looks like he's all in for about the size of the pot, maybe a little more, maybe 275.
Yeah. Well, it was raised free flop at $20, got called in 4 spots.
265 to be precise, and Gus can't call this.
Yeah, the pot is now about $490.
Yeah.
265 to call.
Yeah.
You know, and you know you have at least 3 jacks that are outs.
Right.
But you're not even sure if the jack of clubs is good.
Well, now, I mean, I guess what maybe Gus might possibly be thinking when you talk about monster calls, is this guy just doing this with a flush draw, with one card to come?
Well,
Gus
yeah.
is not going to get involved.
Well, could he? I mean, if he checked to you and you had ace jack of diamonds and you
Right.
had a flush draw, and now you picked up a gut shot straight draw, would you move with that hand? You might.
It's interesting that someone posted up here on High Stakes Poker on GSN last night, that exact hand, queens against the ace jack of diamonds, Doyle Brunson against Shamanara. It played out the same way, but Shamanara, who is actually, I think he's a doctor, folded the ace jack. Whereas Francois made the call. Also, Johnny on 2+2 says, Hashem was taxed 30% here in the U.S., which I
There you
think,
go.
like I said, I think you are subject to taxes. I
I mean, I think the tax thing is a bunch of bullshit.
Wow.
I can't stand it. I mean, how is that? I mean, it's so ridiculous,
Yeah.
too, but whatever. It's another story for another day.
Yeah, Hashem paid taxes in the U.S., but not in Australia. We got a $40 bet here by,
Boston raised it up with ace deuce.
yep,
Ace deuce suited.
seat number 9.
And Boston will mix it up once in a while.
He's raised his hand a couple of times tonight.
Well, if it comes out, and Gus is going to call with deuce 3, comes out with 2 deuces, Gus is in trouble.
Right.
No.
Jack 10-7 with a couple of diamonds.
Hobbs in there with a gut shot. Edwards got a pair. Nobody else has anything.
Now, is this the type of board you want to make a continuation bet in here, Dave, in position?
Well, if everybody checks to me, yeah, probably.
Oh, he checks it. Sometimes I think you just give up. Turns clean. And no one's... And Edwards still's the best hand here in seat 8 with 6-7.
I mean, I just realized that if the board looks scary to everybody, to me, it probably looks scary to everybody else. Why not take a shot at it? If he bets big on the flop, he probably takes it down.
Well, now he's going to bet 80, and now sometimes, we get on Barry Woods about maybe, betting on the turn, but now he actually could represent ace-king, although you might wonder if he might bet ace-king there on the flop. You never know. He could have ace-king that weren't diamonds. He might have checked it on the flop.
And the river would have been a deuce.
Yeah.
Boston would have got there, I guess. But Edward didn't call. Good bet, I guess.
That's a case where you can actually represent if you're playing the hand back in your head.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Barry Woods checks the flop, and now all of a sudden the deuce comes on the turn, and then he throws a bet.
And he tries
in.
to represent that,
Right,
yeah.
right. That's a little efficient.
Like I said, if you're going to bluff, it's got to make sense.
Right.
And every poker hand is like a story.
Right.
And the story's got to make sense, folks. Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. We're watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 5. I'm David Tuckman here at Bart Hanson. Don't forget, starting Thursday, winning of the green, folks. 17th annual winning of the green in the tournament. Over $1 million in cash and prizes will be awarded over the next month. Come on down to the bike. Grab your fair share.
$40 bet here by seat number 8. Edward, King Jack, Stone Cold Bluff here, and he's going to take it down. He had raised it up pre-flop here, and he made a continuation bet.
Well, there we go. We get an email from Hercules the Pimp. And he says, taxes for the professional poker player. And he gives us a little link. Thank you very much.
And then we have a couple of
appreciate
emails here from Barry Woods saying that you don't pay taxes if you're a citizen making money in this country. But then it seems like a lot of other people are saying that Hashem did pay taxes because he said so on the circuit. So there you go. Oop to Barry Woods.
it. Oh, who knows?
And Isaac is saying that Hashem said it when he was in here with me in the booth.
Well, wait a second.
Yeah, but did he say that they taxed the U.S.? He got taxed here in the U.S. Here on the way out, not on the way home, because it was a hobby on the way home.
Yeah, but everybody would admit everybody would admit that they paid taxes, though. Only a moron would say, "Hey, man, I didn't pay any taxes. I got away with it."
Boston has got ace-queen here. He raised it up pre-flop. Francois in the hand. We can't see what he has. 10, deuce, 6. He throws a bet out there, and we never knew what he had, but Boston did not get involved with that flop.
No.
Yeah.
Francois, you wonder if he's still tilting a little bit.
Oh, man. Like you said, I mean, it's actually some of the biggest players that we respect at this level, 3 to 5, have a real tendency to tilt. It's
a lot of the greatest players in the world tilt.
Right.
If you actually go to Barry Greenstein's site, I hate to plug another site, but BarryGreenstein.com, he actually does a rating of all the players, and he has, I want to say, is it tilt ability or whatever?
Steamness or
Steam.
yeah, something like that.
And he
Steaming. I think he calls it steaming.
Yeah, and
he
it's
ranks
1
it.
to 10.
Yeah, 1 to 10.
How hard, will a player steam or not? And he says some of the best players in the world have no emotional control.
Right. Limped around here.
Thank you for that 2+2 post, Barry Woods.
King Jack 4. Rainbow.
Oh, man. I think Barry Woods is actually going. Actually, it was surfing a line eye. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. Not really.
Checked around here on the flop. Turns to 9. Again, doesn't look like anyone has any part of it.
No, Kyle's still got the same gut shot he had before.
And now, Hob is going to bet it. Here.
Take a shot at it.
Well, Hob actually has a king.
Oh, there
He
you
didn't
go.
have it up there. He's got king 6. He's got the best hand. And
Man, I tell you, Hobbs' image, squeaky clean, isn't it?
Yeah.
He doesn't play very many hands, but he plays them strong. But once again, Hobb is a winner.
Oh, absolutely.
And the way Hobb plays now is, you rarely see Hobb be the big winner at the table.
Yeah.
Because he's not gambling as much.
Again, I mean, it's almost the same type of thing. I mean, I've been running really hot in the 5-10 game, but hey, if you can make a healthy living in the 3 to 5 game without much risk,
Hey, whatever works for you.
yeah.
I mean, in the end, you just got to, if you're a professional poker player, you just got to examine what your expenses are and how much money you need to make.
5-6 of diamonds here, limps in seat 5. I'm just glad I made all the money back this month that I had lost in the last 6 months. I'm running so bad. King 6-5 here, yeah. Seat 5's got 2 pair.
2 pair for
Bottom 2
James.
there.
James hasn't had much go his way all night long.
He's going to bet 15 here out of seat 5.
Nobody has a
Take it
king. He's
down.
probably going to take it down.
He does. We've got about an hour left in the show, a little under an hour left.
And he's shaking his head. He's going, man, my first good hand. I couldn't get any money out of it, though.
Oh, so I never actually got a chance. I talked about how I flopped the nut flush stage against a guy who had a straight flush. That same guy, okay, I had a razor to 50. I called with pocket fours. There were 6 people in the hand. This isn't 5-10 no limit, unrestricted. The flop came queen 4 deuce with 2 spades. The pre-flop razor checks. A guy moves all in for 400 into a $300 pot. I raised to 800, and this guy who I lost the pot out to earlier, hems and haws, I could have sworn he was on a flush draw. He's like, if I call, you're going to check it down? And I'm like, no. He turns over queen 4, and he mucks. Top 2 pair.
Wow.
And I don't get the best of him again. I mean, if you're in there with queen 4, what are you looking to hit, right?
Man, this guy's got your number.
I know.
Maybe you got to tell, Bart.
3-way action here.
Did the guy say he knew you had it?
Ace,
Wow.
8
What
jack
a
here.
flop for Gus.
Yep.
Gus has got an open-ended straight draw
With the
with
flush
the
draw.
flush draw. I mean, that is a monster flop for him, huh?
He's going to come and bet.
Oh, man, that hand is big enough to put all your money in.
He bets 45.
That's the kind of that's the kind of flop you're looking for when you have 9-10 of spades, folks.
Wow, and Edward is going to call here. Is he setting up a move? He's got a gut shot to the 10. The turn is a 3.
Well, he's still in the lead with king high.
Yeah, but look at this Gus with one. Oh, actually, let's see. When the turn card comes through, I want to see the percentages here. Gus is going to bet here.
3 of diamonds on the turn, folks.
65.
And now Gus is suddenly an underdog. Look at that. But he's going to bet, and it's real tough for Edward to call, and Edward can't call, and he's going to throw it away, and Gus takes it down. It's one of the dangers when you have such a big hand like that on the flop. If you bet big, and you don't get the raise, and you don't get the really push,
Yep.
and a blank comes on the turn, well, then where are you? Do apologize for our technical difficulties getting those cards in. Ronnie is actually doing the best he can. Unfortunately, we're having some sort of a lag with our computer tonight, but we will have that fixed in the next couple of days. And don't worry, if our technical staff can't get it done, I'll do it.
Oh, yeah, right.
I tell you, this
King, Queen, Jack here on the flop.
how funny would that be if I tried to, Dave the handyman tried to come in and fix something? Oh my God, I think the production room would blow up.
Gus looks like he has made the bet, and seat 5 is called. Actually, seat 5 made a mini raise, and Gus called. Turns a 9, and now James has a straight.
Yeah, James got to take it down.
I mean, Gus bet that flop. James raised.
and he called.
Gus called. If a 10 comes, where are you?
Yeah, there's sometimes where you can take a shot at it.
Yeah.
And if you get raised at all, there's no real point in taking one off. Because what are you hoping to hit? Yeah, speaking of me being a handyman, my wife is actually excited if I can change a light. She's actually really excited.
We got an ace king over here for seat number 9.
Wow, ace queen for seat 8.
Yeah.
25.
Let's see if Edward and Boston smash heads here. But look at this. Francois raised. He made it $20 to go with 3-5 of spades. Let's see if Boston re-raises. And Boston is.
Edward calls and Boston re-raises. Francois gets away from it.
And you wonder what Edward's going to do here. He's got ace-queen out of position.
Offsuit, out of position, against a re-raise. There's just, I mean, how could you possibly think you're ahead? The only thing you might hope the guys has got jacks or tens.
And that's a great laydown by Edward there. That really is a good laydown. A lot of people at home going, wait a second, he had ace-queen. You can't lay down ace-queen. We talk about it all the time. Out of position with ace-queen, man, you're asking for trouble.
Email here from Paul Lusby. He says, what are your opinions about Mike Manasow? He talks about how much he hates online poker, yet he's playing 10-20 no limit right now against Juwanda on Full Tilt.
Well, I mean, isn't Full Tilt, isn't he sponsored by Full Tilt?
Full Tilt Poker.
.com.
Showdog Poker. Pocket aces over here for seat 7. Anybody listening to
I
Circuit
don't
knows what I'm
really
talking about.
have an opinion on Mike Manasow. I've never played with him. I don't really know him. I mean, I know a lot of the tournament pros and a lot of the pros. I just don't know him. So.
Well, Francois got pocket aces here, and he's in the straddle spot, Dave. And he's going to raise it up. Nice hand in the straddle spot to have.
Now, if he had gotten this about an hour ago, people might have thought he was tilting still. But
Right.
I think people think he's over it at this point. But James might call. No, James going to get away from ace-9. Nice laydown by James.
Kevin had a king rag.
And Francois Knight, he gets no action with his aces.
The problem sometimes when you want to play this game because you figure there's little risk and you can make a lot of money. Well, look at Francois lost $1,000 in 2 hands because he was steaming off his money.
Right, exactly. I mean, if you're going to dunk off money, there's risk in any game.
Right.
I mean, hey, give me a couple $100, I'll find a way to burn it in a 3-6 hold'em game. But if you play pretty solid, I mean, if Francois plays it solid, the ace-queen, if he throws away ace-queen, he throws away ace-jack there, he's probably even right now.
Right.
You know, maybe he's down $50 or $75.
Live straddle here by seat 8, and Kevin's got pocket kings. In seat 6.
And nobody's else got much of anything. Seat 3 has got an interesting hand. Gus has got Jack 10 suited.
Well, Kevin raises it to 60, and Francois calls it a suited connector. And seat 8 there is going to call with Queen 3 suited for $60. Wow.
Well, I'd fold if I was Kyle. Kyle's got ace-9, and that's not a hand I want to call with, but I will call with Gus now. If I'm Gus's hand.
Yeah, Jack 10 suited.
Right, but Kyle's hand, ace-9, that's pretty worthless.
So 5-way action here. It's a $300 pot. And Edward is in there with Queen 3 of spades. Here we go. Ace 8-8, not the hand you're looking for. And yeah, what is Kyle doing in there with ace 9? And Francois flops trip 8s.
Yeah, and
he's going to bet.
The problem with a hand like ace 9, I'm just not sure what I'm rooting for.
Well, now Francois has come out and bet 150. Is Kyle going to get involved with this, Dave? Well, he quickly folds.
I love the bet. Absolutely love the bet. Now, the ace on the board is going to probably save Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin was hoping, Francois was hoping somebody had ace-king there. He really was.
Lucky for Francois, the flop wasn't king 8-8, obviously.
Says, show me the ace, and he shows him an 8.
Yeah.
And the turn would have been a 3, and the river would have been a 3. Wouldn't have changed anything there. Francois takes it down. And he takes down a pretty big pot there. Nice win there. He takes down about, I want to say, a $300 pot, folks.
Bud moves over here to seat 6.
The lovely Nicole is in the house, I hear.
I think Shirley is actually playing in Bay 101, Dave. Obviously, you can check out Shirley's website, poker-babes.com. Ace-king suited here for Kevin on the button in seat 6. There she is.
The lovely Nicole.
There she is. Kevin's going to raise it up here to 55.
And there's just this disgusting picture on 2+2 that Surfing a Line I has posted, and Bart just had it on the computer.
Woods.
I'm like, will you move it? Every time I look over, I'm gagging.
Ace was coming. After that money, if you guys looking at that money, it's me.
Oh, it's Dimitri.
Oh, look at that.
Dimitri's actually one of the part owners of a different casino, believe it or not, and he is action. He is action personified, folks. I mean, if Dimitri's in the game, Dimitri's one of those players, he does not care about the money at all. He's got plenty of it. He is here to gamble and have a good time. And with Dimitri in the house, that means we've got 45 minutes until I'm going to play a 10-20 no limit. Hold on.
We got a raise here by Gus with ace-6 of clubs. And the flop comes king-5 deuce, all two clubs, and Gus has got the nut flush draw.
Now, James has got a wheel draw.
$40 bet here by Gus, fold.
Boston with top pair. See how he plays it.
Yeah, in Boston, I actually do not. Was Boston in the hand? I don't think he might not even have been in the hand.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There you go. Good look at Gus there.
Yep. Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. And a live straddle here.
Interesting email here from Goulardi here. Here's the deal, guys. Most countries have income tax treaties with the U.S. to avoid double taxation. Usually the player would pay income tax to his home country and would request a refund from the IRS. This is interesting here. However, since Australia does not tax gambling income, he had to pay U.S. income tax on his World Series of Poker win. Talking about, obviously, Joseph Hasha.
There you go. Kyle's going to raise
Thank
here.
you very much. Do appreciate it.
He's going to make it 65 more here with pocket sevens. I believe the button is over there in Boston. It's actually in seat 8, and I guess everyone's straddling here. So Kyle's raised it out of the straddle spot. And again, there are about 4 or 5 limpers, so he's going to try to pick up about $50 in dead money.
Wow,
and
and
he does.
Kyle usually plays it pretty straightforward. That's a pretty aggressive play from Kyle. I like to see that in his repertoire.
Button moves over here to seat 9. Live straddle here by seat 3.
None of your work. None of your work. I started calling everything. Did you see him up the hands?
Limped around here. 5-way action. King 5 jack here, a couple hearts. Gets checked around, turns a deuce, and Francois turns a set of deuces. But again, no one really has anything here. I don't know if anyone has a pair.
No, and Francois is actually, I think the rest of the table is drawing dead.
He checked it. Now the river's a king, and now he fills up. But no one has a king, a jack, or a 5. No one has any pair in the hand.
And Francois is going to put a little money in there, hopes maybe. And people are just folding outright. Huh?
Right, they're folding on a turn. And now Gus is going to try to fire at it with queen high.
Yeah, why not?
He bets 45.
Just to see where you are. There's no more cards coming.
Transfer.
I mean, Dave, no one had a pair.
Yeah.
Yeah. He raises.
How can I be on a draw when it's all...
He makes it 50 more.
Francois told him that he was on the draw. Gus tried to point out that there are no more cards coming.
Francois shows him a deuce.
And the deuce is good.
Right, it
Gus
doesn't
can't
matter.
beat the deuce.
Right.
Question here from Brandon Glass. Says, David Bart, did Shirley Rosario survive her opening day at the Shooting Star Tournament? Let me know. We don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, yeah. We'll find out, though.
I think you can check out her daily poker journal on her website.
Yeah.
Kind of lets you know how she's been doing with her, daily play.
Yeah.
As well.
Don't miss tomorrow night's action. Tomorrow night we've got our big no-limit game. Blinds are $25.50. It's an unrestricted maximum buy-in, minimum buy-in of $3,000, folks. And we're going to have probably close to 80 to 100 grand on the table tomorrow night. King 8-7, couple of spades.
Three-way action here. Pocket Jacks Edward brought this one in for a raise.
It was just a little mini raise, though.
And he's going to make a continuation bet here.
Yeah, he made it $15 more. Got called in 3 spots. The pot was $60, and he's going to bet about $60 into the pot.
Fortunately for him, no one really has a piece of this.
No.
I mean, Francois would really have to be steaming here to make this call.
And some people are upset. Some people go, oh, man, I got no action with my jacks. In a no-limit hold'em game, how much action do you really want with jacks?
I mean, I can't just go. I have to either go all in or just let them.
He's going to take it down there. Button moves over here to seat number 2. Well, it looks like we get a new player there. New player coming into seat 4. Is that right? Or no, that's
off.
It's still off.
Another
Coming
cool
back.
feature of the LA poker scene, by the way, if you're interested in playing in the Winning of the Green event, our March 11th event, which is a $150,000 guaranteed tournament, Saturday, March 11th, you can actually win a satellite that event on the LA poker scene. Cool. Pretty cool.
Limped around here. This game is kind of grinded to a halt here, Dave.
It slowed down a little bit here.
4 or 5-way action here. Queen 9-9.
Wow, and seat 7, Francois has flopped a full house.
Yep, he's got Queen 9. And he bets it. He bets 20.
Now, seat 2, Kyle's got queen.
Yeah, no one else has a 9.
I can't imagine him getting involved.
Oh,
Nobody's got
seat 2
clubs.
calls.
And there we go. And
Wow, the turn's another 9. That's the worst card for a queen. And Francois checked it.
oh, wow.
Why would you check it there? I don't understand why you would check the turn.
Well, the interesting thing is that Kyle's got a queen.
Right. Well, what I'm saying to you is I bet and a guy calls, unless I think he's totally bluffing, he's going to bet 150. Oh, look at this. Francois slow rolling him. The guy. Oh, wait. Has the guy made the call yet?
No.
Oh, he's not gonna call. Wow. And the reason why I scream, Dave, when you make quads like that,
Yeah.
why would you check the turn? Why not build the pot bigger and get a guy with a queen to call you?
Well, that's the whole
I
point.
don't understand that.
If you leave the pot small, then you
Right.
put a big bet on the river,
Yeah.
it's easier for the guy to throw it away.
I mean, he bet 150 into a pot that was like $50 at the river. Right?
If he makes a $50 bet on the turn,
Yeah.
gets called, okay, well, now the pot's 150.
Right.
Now you can bet 150 on the river and throw
Right.
a $150 pot
Right.
and possibly get called.
I mean, I've
Hand
gotten
to Kyle.
emails from that. People are like, why are you yelling about not betting quads? I actually saw Mo check quad 3s last week on the show. And I will say that I think it's a big mistake. I guess it depends on if you're trying to, if the board is draw heavy. Maybe you're trying to get the guy to catch up, but why just not bet and try to build the pot up a little bit?
Well, I mean, there's an argument to be made to
Yeah.
slow down a little bit and let your opponent catch up.
Right.
But obviously, if you want to win a big pot, you
Right.
sometimes got to build it.
Right. I know you would have bet there, Dave. I know I would have.
I probably would have bet a little bit, hoping
Right.
the guy had a queen.
Right. Live straddle here by seat 6.
Just tell them I'm going to play every hand until the show's done.
That's good. Remember when Francois' mouth was taped shut at the beginning of last week's show?
Oh, the good old days.
Yeah.
I long for those days.
James has got ace-king suited here. He's in the big blind, and he's going to raise it up. He's going to make it 100.
Raise it up.
125 more. Wow.
A couple of suited cards out there. Kyle with the ace-10 spades. Let's see if he gets involved.
For 125 more?
Well, you wouldn't imagine he would, but you never know.
Gus is playing up and down suited king 5 of diamonds.
And by putting 125 in there, James has pretty much pot committed himself. If somebody were to come over the top...
Oh, look
of
at
him-
that. Kyle's going to make the call. Unbelievable.
Wow. Now, this is one of those times. Kyle's got enough money to maybe make this call because he's probably got $1,000 behind, but James doesn't.
Here we go to the flop.
Wow.
Queen, deuce, 9. James has got overcards and the nut flush draw.
Yeah.
He moves all in.
Yeah, it's an easy play for James there.
And luckily for Kyle, he didn't hit the ace and felt like he was going to be obligated to call on the flop.
I mean, the only thing that would have been kind of would have been interesting is if both players had missed,
Right.
what would have happened?
That's why sometimes it confuses me about Kyle's play. We can see the turn would have been the 6 of clubs. James would have made the flush. Is that, I see Kyle play good sometimes, and then sometimes I see him call $125 raises
Yeah.
with ace 10 of spades. Now, again, like you said, it doesn't necessarily matter what cards you hold when you're in position. Now he was in position that time, just like when he had Queen Jack before. But we've never really seen him use his position to take it away from some guy. Now in that case, he doesn't have an opportunity to because the guy makes a move on the flop.
Yeah, but you got to look at it also.
Taken out of it.
The guy is putting 25% of his stack in there.
Right.
He's only got $300 more.
Right.
You know, there's not much play left.
Right.
Hey, did you hear the latest news? NFL trade rumors. The Jets supposedly are contemplating trading up to the number 1 pick.
Oh, really?
Either take Reggie Bush or Matt Leinart out of USC. Got to tell you, being a Jet fan, I'm quite excited.
Well, I'm not too concerned. Got a $75 bet here by Hav. He's going to mix it up. He's got deuce 3 offsuit. If the Jets can screw something like that up, they're the organization to do it. Or if some organization can do it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. You were mumbling.
So Hav's going to pick that. You know, he's made this. He's going to pick up some dead money here, and he's going to show deuce 3 there, Dave. Mix it up a little bit.
Well, he's not getting the action, so
Yeah.
I figures why not. And that might be the one bluff of Hav tonight, you know?
You got me beat.
All right, that's the last time I'm showing.
I can't win. You know what?
What percentage of live players would you say wins? I'd say 10% maybe.
Well, I mean, it's one question when you say win, and then actually win enough and have the money management skills to make a living at it.
Well, I'm not saying
like,
living, I'm just saying win. Win, maybe 15%, 10%?
Yeah, something like that. I'll take a look at chip count here. So, Billy's
Billy,
covering
yeah.
the table. Let's take a look at how these players are doing. About over 6,200 on the table.
Yeah, pretty good.
Francois is only down 600 now.
Well, he's made a little bit of a comeback. He won that big hand when he flopped trip 8s. Not much movement here. I mean, the big winners only have 700. The big losers only down 700. And Hav, I mean, if you didn't know any better, you wouldn't even know he was playing,
Right.
yet he's the second biggest winner of the night.
We had a live straddle here by seed 8, and the small blind is going to come out and raise with king queen suited here after one limper.
And that's the reason Hav's playing this game, by the way.
He's going to raise it up to 60. 500 there, 1,000 there without any stress, right? What's wrong with making 500 or 1,000 a day?
No, hey, I mean, some people go, well, only $400. Hey, $400 a day?
Right.
Cash, 5 days a week?
Right.
Start adding it up, folks. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, that would be what? That's you're talking if you do it 5 days a week. That's what $2,000 a week, $8,000 a month.
You know, I've talked to some of the players
$96,000 a year.
that play this game day in and day out, like a Francois, or
Yeah.
like maybe a Sylvester, and they say that you can make $10,000 a month in this game. And a Gus, you know.
I guess you can. You can't donk off $1,000 like
Right.
Francois did if you're gonna and still make 10,000.
They cannot straddle anymore with these inferior holdings.
My guesstimate would be if you can win, say, 300 on an average in this game,
Yeah.
you know, playing for 6, 7, 8 hours, that's a pretty good day. On average, I'm saying. Obviously, you're going to have some little losses and
That would
losing
be
days in
about,
there,
you know,
too.
8,000 a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. 300 a day would be,
Oh, that would be 6,000. If you play 20 days out of a month.
yeah, you're talking 6,000 a month. That's not bad at all. We're talking cash, too. It's 6,000 a month.
Yeah.
You do that 12 months, that's $72,000 cash.
Right. And then, of course, you have to report it. King 10-9 here.
Of course.
Got a little bet here by seat number 2, Kyle. He's going to come out and bet with Queen 10. He's got a middle pair and a gut shot. 2 hearts on board. He does have the best hand. Now, Gus has Queen 9, the same gut shot, but bottom pair. There are 2 hearts there. He's going to call with several people to act behind him.
Yeah, well, you know what? A lot of times, if a player is down a little bit, this is the psychology of any poker game. If a player is down, he will kind of reach at straws, you know, hoping for that one big hand to double him up.
And Edward calls with 8-10. And the turn is the case 10. And Kyle's got a better kicker.
Wow.
Edward's in there with 8-10. That's amazing.
Wait, wasn't Francois in there with 2-4 of hearts?
Now, Kyle's going to bet 200, and Edward is going to check raise all in, and it's only 200 more. And unless Kyle gets really unlucky, you can see the percentages. Edward needs to catch an 8 to win the hand.
Yeah, but Kyle hasn't called yet, but no, yeah, he's going to.
Yeah, it's 200 more. He's going to make this call.
Yeah. And this pot is what, about $700
Yeah.
now, huh?
Here we go to the river. Edward needs an 8 and an 8 only
To win it.
And the river is the 3 of diamonds. There you go.
Yeah, a king would have chopped it up. A 9 would have chopped it
Now, we're
up.
talking about making calls, taking one off on flops with pairs, 2-pair trip possibilities, and then hitting it and going broke. Reversed implied odds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to realize that oftentimes when people will take one off to see if they can catch trips or 2-pair, you've got to keep in mind the fact that your trips might not be good,
Right.
and your 2-pair might not be good.
Right.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna make it 40.
Nothing worse than going for a draw, getting there, and losing.
Hey, look at that $500 chip. We don't see many of those. You zoom in right there. That is a $500 brown chip right there. There it is.
But you're gonna make but it's 50.
Right there in front of that yellow stack. Yep. Used to be Francois' chip.
As long as I don't get like stabbed from the back.
Do we have it? We have the 500. Oh,
It's not fun.
yeah. Dave, that's got to be probably the most uncommon chip that you ever see at the bike, right?
Well,
The
it's
$500 chip?
it's so big and so unwieldy.
Right, right.
Unless you're playing with them, actually,
Yeah,
a lot of them.
Yeah.
Revenge.
25 more.
Got a raise here by Francois. Pocket deuces for 30. Seat 8's going to call with King 8 suited. Again, I don't know where Edwards' head has been sometimes in this game. He's called with a lot of inferior hands. We saw him call 50 pre-flop with Queen 3 of spades earlier on.
Mine.
Three-way action here.
It's mine.
Ace, King, Queen, and Billy's flop top and bottom. And these two went head-to-head before. Obviously, Francois does not have much here on this flop.
It's not a board that I want to slow play, though, if I have ace queen, I'll tell you
But
that.
it actually got checked around.
And now what
And
do
look
you
at
do?
this, the turn's a 10. Now, no one has a jack.
But how does he know that?
Right.
And I was going to say, it's not the kind of board I want to slow play here.
Now, if you're Francois, if it gets checked to a second time, could you possibly bet here? Well,
Kevin's going to
Kevin's
take it
going
out
to
of
come
him.
and bet.
Kevin's going to try to represent here.
He does not have a jack. He bet 75.
And Billy's he's now wondering, why did I slow play that? I was looking for it. He was obviously looking for a check raise. He was up front, didn't get it. And now he's put himself in a tough predicament. Very easy for somebody to have him beat.
Now, Dave, if you had a jack of spades, X spades, you would be obviously on a straight free roll if someone
Right,
else had a
exactly.
jack.
That's a perfect example, actually. Somebody wanted to know what a free roll was.
Right.
Let's say Bart had a jack, okay, but I had a jack, and I also had a jack spades with another spade. Obviously, I want to get all my money in with Bart because at worst, I'm going to tie him.
Right.
But if a spade comes off, hey, I'm going to get all Bart's money. Hence, I'm on a free roll.
There's no way I can lose, but I can win.
Exactly. That's the point. Got a question here from Paul Lusby about tournaments. He goes, hey, are you guys planning on showing any tournaments on Live at the Bike? Once in a while, we'll throw a final table up there.
Yeah, once in a while we do. For anybody that's really watched the show for a long time, live tournament poker, in terms of especially at the levels that we would do a tournament here, probably not a big buy-in. It just gets into a shoving contest. It's really not that entertaining.
Yeah,
It makes it up. We've done it in the past. It's just really not that conducive to this show.
you've got to realize that when you're watching a tournament on TV, you're
Yeah.
seeing it edited down.
Right.
You're seeing a very select number of hands, and you're seeing the highlights.
Yeah.
You're basically watching the ESPN show of the tournament,
Right.
okay? If you were to see every single hand, it probably wouldn't be that exciting. Oh, not a bad flop for... Oh, no, I thought for a second Edward had 7-8
Well,
of hearts.
Francois got two pair. He's playing 10-4 of clubs. He's flop top and bottom. He's going to bet 30.
10-4, over and out.
Yeah.
Edward here with a gut shot. He's going to throw it away. I imagine Francois is going to take this down. And he does.
I mean, that would be like, Dave, again, someone was playing 10-4 here. A guy moves all in for a little less. I race, and now you fold 10-4 on this flop. Actually, 10-6 in this
Yeah.
case.
Oh, you're talking about
I'm
the
talking
hand
about
with-
my
the
hands.
guy got away from it.
Yeah, with top two.
I'm telling you, Bart, you got to stop crying about it. Maybe you got to tell. I don't know. Either that or the guy was scared.
They're paying me.
He said he shouldn't have got involved with the pre-flop, and he didn't want to lose money on the hand.
Okay.
But I said, if you're in there with that, what else are you looking to hit, right?
I mean, maybe that was his thinking.
Yeah.
He was scolding himself for even getting involved.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? I'm done with it.
40.
A hell of a laydown.
Now back to tournaments. So we have showed a couple of final tables here and there. Once in a while, we'll actually do heads up tournaments, which are kind of fun.
Right.
And we will do that sometime in the near future.
Francois brought this one in with pocket nines for 30. Edwards called with a dominated ace-10, and Kyle is in there with big lick suited.
Well,
and
there's-
Kyle flops a flush draw. Now Edward's got top pair.
And Francois got garbage.
Let's see if Francois is going to bet, though. He's going to continue to bet.
Well, he's got to see where he's at.
75, 2 purple chips and 5 yellows. And again, if you're Edward here, yeah, he's going to make the call, but you can really easily get screwed here. Now, in a case where you've got a bet and a call, can you make a big check raise here with a flush draw? Well, it looks like Kyle is just going to make the call.
How do you like your hand at your Francois? Now, you bet with your 9s, and you got called in 2 spots.
Yeah.
Now, maybe one of those players has a heart draw.
Francois would need the case 9. The turn's a 5. And that gives Kyle a straight draw now as well. If you catch an 8 or a heart, it gets checked to Edward, and he checks right behind everyone, and the river's an 8.
Wow,
and Kyle makes a straight.
And that is the best card possible there. But
Yeah.
both players are a little scared of the 7, though.
Kyle bets 100 now.
I mean, isn't Kyle playing less like he has a 7 anyway?
Now, again, you can't beat a 7. You can't beat a real ace here. You could only beat a busted heart draw if you're Edward with ace 10. Now, Kyle has a busted heart draw, but he backed into a straight.
Yep.
It's a $100 bet here. Again, another reason why you might not want to play ace 10.
Well, you know, Edward couldn't play it strong on the flop. Had Edward had, say, ace-king or ace-queen, and he was able to raise Francois right on the flop,
Right.
maybe Kyle's not even there.
He makes the call, and Kyle's going to show the straight.
Hey, backs into it.
Yep.
Good old 69.
Francois was trying to the case 9, as Kyle had more than 9. We have,
Getting word here from John E. on 2+2 that Shirley was knocked out.
we have a little
that
bit.
sucks.
We have maybe 20 minutes left in the show here, Dave. Again,
What
join
was
us
the tournament
tomorrow night.
You know?
I don't. I know that bounty tournament was last time. Maybe it was a 2-day event.
Okay.
Join us tomorrow for $25.50, unrestricted buy-in, no limit hold'em. The game is crazy.
Exciting news, folks. Straight from the mouth of Donna. Want to let you know that Dimitri is playing in a no-limit game here on the Bikes floor. Pretty exciting. Maybe we can convince Dimitri to come on down tomorrow night.
Yeah. Limped around here, three-way action.
10-4-3, couple of hearts. And Gus has got the best hand with 9-4.
Got checked around here. Turns an ace.
Well, now Kyle's got the ace.
By the way, this is from last night that I'm showing you here. Got a $10 bet here by Kyle with the ace, and he's going to take it down. Did we really say if we would bang other people's wives?
Yeah.
I'm just going a little into full contact poker form here for a second.
What does this guy say? Okay, these commentators
Piss the hell out of me. 3 minutes now they've used the phrase smoking hot, talking about Evelyn Ing and other players' wives and whether or not they would bang them if they were on a good run of cards. Geez, shut the F up about sex and comment on the goddamn game. This is from Full Contact Poker.
I'd like to get a replay. We never said that.
I know. General forums section there, over there, live at the Bike Monday.
And I think you said smoking hot when you were talking about Liz Liu, weren't you? Yeah,
Not
okay.
Evelyn Ing.
Thank you. God, if you're going to quote us.
Clear that up.
If you're going to quote us right.
Right.
Come on.
Pocket Jacks here for seat 9.
An ace-king and ace-queen. Look at these monsters out here, folks.
Yeah, we had a raise here by seat 7 Francois, and Boston has made it 105. He's re-raised.
And
Kyle,
Kyle calls.
Kyle just calls with the ace-king. Now, I want to say that the button here
He's in
is
seat 2. It's
he's
Kyle.
in seat 2, so he has position. Now, I got to tell you, I have no problem folding big raises and big re-raises with ace-king, whether I'm in or out of position, Dave. I mean, again, you got to take into account, you might, if you're going to outplay the guy in position, then fine. But if you're looking just to hit your hand, you've got a raise and a re-raise. Hey, could Boston have aces or kings here, too?
Well, you also got to realize the limitations of ace-king here against
Right.
jacks. Now, Boston's a pretty good player.
Right.
If the flop comes out with an ace or a king,
Right.
Boston's not going to lose any money on it.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to get action on this hand is if it's bad action, you're
Right.
losing. Basically, the flop comes out ace-jack.
And Francois makes the overcall with ace-queen offsuit. That's amazing.
Yeah, and the pot is now quickly $325.
Wow, I'm
folks.
shocked that Francois is in here. he makes the call.
Actually, it
That's
was 125. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the pot is almost $400
yeah, that's
now.
amazing that Francois makes the overcall.
And if you're Boston, do you even like your hand now? I mean, is it possible that one of these players is queens?
And actually, yeah,
And this is a big pot,
yeah.
folks.
I think that
325 total.
I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, are we going to
There
see
was a
a
$125
Okay.
raise there. So the pot is about $400 now
Yeah.
to the flop, folks.
Here we go.
Oh,
Wow, and Francois outflops everyone. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I
Queen
mean-
8 deuce.
He is badly, badly dominated and gets lucky. Well,
I think he checked it from up front. He checked it.
and that's not the ultimate scare card. Ace is a lot scarier, king's a lot scarier than a queen. Because you wouldn't think a good player would call you an ace-queen.
And Boston bets 200. You know, I don't say anything at the table, but if I'm Boston here, I got to think, if Francois wins this in showdown with ace-queen, you sit there and you think, what are you doing? Are you really that steaming? And Francois has check raised all in here. And you know what? Boston, he's good enough to get away from it. This is what we talk about with ace-queen.
Yeah.
Boston might not call. And Francois, he would have lost the maximum if Boston had aces or kings here, right?
Now, the question here for me, I'm wondering is, now there's no draw whatsoever on the flop. It's
Yeah.
Queen 8 deuce, no straight draw, no flush draw.
Right.
Is it pretty easy to throw away jacks here?
Well, Boston bets 200. The pot is now 600, and Francois check raises all in for 500 more, which means the pot is now 1,300, 500 to call. It's getting about 2.5 to 1 here, but like you said, Dave, it's
no
not really a
draw.
pot odds question.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question of, is Francois lying or is he telling the truth? The only thing I'm looking at him, though, if I'm Boston, I'm going, did you actually call a $100 raise with ace-queen?
I mean, I would think against Francois, maybe he was trying to play it safe with queens.
Yeah.
Or kings, maybe even.
But
Well,
just
you got
for
to think
record-
that you might pre-flop, you might re-raise all in with kings.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I got to be honest. If I was playing against Francois here,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I would say. And I really do respect Francois' game, but calling a $100 raise with ace-queen offsuit,
Yeah.
man,
Overcalling.
Yeah, that's-
pre-flop.
real questionable.
Yeah. I think Boston can get away from this. I mean,
Yeah, the only question is if Francois thinks, if Boston thinks maybe Francois is still tilting.
yeah.
But, that was a long time ago.
Well, that pretty much is no fold equity here, Dave. I mean, if you're facing about $450 more and the pot's $1,300, you have to call here with aces or kings, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I think
Yeah.
Boston automatically calls with aces
Yeah.
and kings.
Yeah. And he folds. And again, we'll say it again. We have a lot of respect for Francois' game. I still think he's just steaming though.
Yeah, this has not been his night. He
Yeah.
knows it.
Yeah.
He's won a couple of lucky pots here
Yeah.
to kind of make his night respectable. But he knows this is not his night.
Yeah.
And we all have those. I mean, I actually played last night. I ended up winning a couple $100, but I played like a complete ass. I really didn't play well at all.
Dave, I have an exciting email to read here. This is from Mystery Person here. We just wanted to say that whoever is running the controls there tonight is doing a great job. His sheer talent is really something to behold. Say hi to Isaac for us. Oh, and then it says from his parents, James and Catherine Hartman.
It's funny, Isaac's not even doing the controls anymore.
I know,
It's
he's
actually-
not even doing the controls.
It's actually Ray and Ronnie.
Yeah.
But thanks, James and Catherine.
Yeah. Button's over there in seat number 3. Got about 10 minutes left of the show here. 10 or 15 minutes left. $20 raise here coming out of Edward with King Jack off.
I love it. His sheer talent is really something to behold.
Well, James has got pocket 10s. He's called, and Hop is called with pocket 9s. Here we go. Wow, and Edward flops trick jacks. The way that he's played here tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if he checks it.
The interesting thing is that
He actually bets.
it's not a bad flop for anybody.
It really isn't. Jack 5 here. He's going to bet 30. A little bit of a weak bet.
Yeah, and oftentimes weakness is either you're weak or you're strong, really strong.
And again, I say it, tough spot for 9s or 10s. I mean, if Hoff calls here, I'm going to sit there and think to myself, maybe I don't get involved.
I think he
from
raised.
James. Did he make the check raise? He did make
He
the
did.
check
He
raise.
raised it $50
So that's
more.
easily going to get James out of the hand.
Yeah, you get a bet and a raise here.
And now, the issue now is, if Edward comes back over the top all in, even though it's a little bit, Hoff has to know he's beat, right?
Yes.
With an overpair or a jack.
I think so. Because would Edward come over the top on a diamond draw? That's the question. There's no straight draw there.
But he's going to slow play it here, even though he doesn't have much left. And I don't really know what the point is if Hob would do this, might do this with a diamond, or he only has like 100 left.
The problem with doing this with 9s here and Hobbs out of position.
Oh, the
man.
turn's a jack.
I was going to say, if the turn came out of blank, what does Hob do now out of position? And Hob is drawing dead, obviously.
Well, I mean, Hob can appreciate the fact that he might. Yeah, he's going to check it now. I was going to say he can appreciate the fact that he might. This guy might have an overpair.
No,
Wow,
he-
and look at that. He made a weak bet. Edward made a weak bet, and Hob check raised all in.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
No. Oh, no, what am I talking about?
No jackpot possibilities here. He made like a little $20 bet, and Hob basically said, I don't believe you.
Yeah, he misread him a little bit. I think he was hoping he had ace-king or something like that. Takes it down.
Yeah.
Edward wins what I want to say is probably his first or second pot of the whole night. And Hob, that's probably his first loss tonight. It's one thing to get away from 9s. I mean, Jack, 5, it's not a bad flop for 9s. And then the third Jack comes out. We've seen 2 quads now.
Yeah.
Very odd. Once again, it's real easy for us and for you guys at home to figure out who's got, this guy's got quads. What are you doing?
Well, here we go. Our final chip count of the night. Kyle, 1350.
Yeah, he's made a nice, and look at Francois. He's made a nice comeback. I want to say he's actually up a couple hundred now.
Yeah, well, that's amazing with that ace-queen here. Well, let's see how these players are doing.
Yeah.
Francois actually, he's still down about 300.
Yeah, he's in for 1,500, so he's down 3, but he was down about 1,000, so Kyle the big winner.
And I think Hob actually lost some money on that hand. We didn't have it updated there, but
Yeah.
he's probably up maybe 200 or so.
Yeah, doubled Edward up there.
Oh, 3-way action, 4-way action here.
Wow, and the jacks are just like all
Wow,
over
this is
the place.
unbelievable. Jack here on the flop.
Somebody shuffle these decks.
We cannot see C8's hand here. He's not showing the cards. Turn is a king.
Well, James has got a full house now. He's got jacks over
But
kings.
look at this. C8's got ace-jack. He's made 4 jacks again. He's got
Wow.
ace-jack. Are you kidding me?
2 hands in a
4
row,
jacks.
Edward makes quad jacks.
He bets 15 here, and James has got a king. And he's going to pay him off. This is unbelievable.
Well, how do you put somebody on quads time and time again?
The river is an ace. Well, that might kill some of the action. But Kyle is in the hand with ace-8.
Wow.
This is unbelievable.
Now, this is a great question. I want to throw something at you.
And Kyle here,
Now, this is,
he makes a bet here. And look at this. He's going to turn over ace-jack. Unbelievable.
yeah, quad jack's gonna. Now, just to play, I want to throw this at all the people on the internet that were laughing at you for not raising with the ace of spades, worried about the straight flush. And the interesting thing is about that hand is why wouldn't, now if somebody wants to argue, why wouldn't somebody raise? Why wouldn't somebody raise in seat 2 with the jacks full of aces? I mean, he's got the absolute second nut, right? And we were talking earlier about not raising with the ace of spades, like a flush, right?
Right.
Now, isn't a straight flush, I mean, isn't that just as unlikely as quad jacks there?
Oh, yeah, aces. Black on the last plus jacks, plus fives, plus after. I'm just saying. We're going to hit the jackpot today. So
I can't believe that.
we're going to hit the jackpot.
And it was the same hand, Jack?
You made money.
Well, no, I had king jack before I had ace jack.
So if you get a Jack, you play.
Phenomenal there.
No, I agree with you when you're talking about that. Well, he didn't raise. He just called.
No, that's what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
if somebody is going to stay, if somebody's going to, on 2
Right.
plus 2, I'm just asking everybody this question.
Right.
If you're going to say that you should raise with the ace high flush when there's a straight flush possibility out there,
Right.
well then why wouldn't Kyle raise with jacks over aces there? He's got the second nut.
Well, I think what they're talking about is the fact that you have to have a 2-card possibility for a straight flush, as opposed to maybe you wouldn't do that with a 1-card possibility out there.
Okay. I mean, I'm just
I
throwing
mean,
that out there.
that
I mean,
guy
it
made-
is second nut.
He made 4 jacks twice in a row.
Yeah.
Ace-8-8 here on the flop. And that
Absolutely
is
phenomenal.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is.
75.
We got a $75 bet coming out of Gus here with the ace-4. Now, Hav has the same hand. He's not going to get involved with ace-4.
No.
Obviously.
I mean, if it gets checked to him, maybe he bets, but
Right.
certainly not going to call a bet with ace 4.
That's 4 jacks in a row. My God.
And he made money on both of them.
Yeah, and how many quads have we had now? 3, 4 tonight?
Yeah, 3 of them actually. We've had 4 nines once, 4 jacks twice. I mean, you can go 4 days and not see that. I know people at home on the internet are going, "What are you talking about?"
Right, I see it every day.
I can't go 6 minutes without seeing you.
Right, set over set all the time. I lose. Buttons over there in seat 6.
Hey, if you have any questions that are more specific hand related, send us emails in because we're going to have a new feature that's going to be starting relatively soon. I don't want to commit to a date yet, but we're going to have kind of an email question of the week.
Cool.
And it's going to be a video, and you can actually check it out at liveatthebike.com where Bard and myself or one of us will answer the question of the week. So email us. And you can get really specific. You can ask a specific hand that might have happened that you were curious of how it played out, and we'll give you our 2 cents.
You know, I think Hobb just made a smooth call here with pocket queens. I think, was it against Gus's raise here? Couldn't quite tell.
Yeah, he did. He made a smooth raise there. Smooth call. You're right.
Yeah.
And he's got the best hand here, but it's hard for him to know that.
And Gus is going to make a continuation bet.
And you know what? If you're going to play it slow queens, why not just get rid of it?
He's got to get rid of it now with people behind him for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're in there. There's five people in the pot.
Well, I mean, it was a race to 20. I was wondering why he would just make the smooth call, and he folds. He actually had the best hand.
Yeah, I think he was slow playing it a little bit, and that's a way to play it. If you hit your queen, nobody puts you on the hand.
Right.
If you get lucky enough to hit your set. Gus takes it down. Nice.
Flop came out 10-10 queen.
Yeah.
He'd be in good shape there.
So back to that thing, I just want to let you know. So send in your email questions with any specific question you might have about poker, strategy related.
Right.
And keep checking out liveatthebike.com because we will answer. It'll be kind of a video format type thing.
Right.
Where, like I said, Bart and I will give you our 2 cents in what we think you should have done. Once again, our views and our opinions are not necessarily the views held by our management.
Do you like that picture, Dave? Can I keep that up there instead?
It's a little bit better, but I'm offended.
We've got a raise here by Hobb. This time he looks like he's got pocket 10s out of seat 4.
James just smooth calls with ace-king clubs.
Yep.
Wow, and that gets everybody in here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way action.
And now with your 10s, basically all you can go is, well, give me a set or nothing.
It's a $100 pot here. King 4-7. Well, ace king there in seat 5 is good.
Yep, you are right. And once again, our card inputs are a little lagged tonight. Do apologize for that.
Well, Hobb is going to actually bet in here.
Well, it's only one overcard. He's going to see where he's at. It's not a draw-heavy board, so you can bet once and kind of get a nice feel for where you're at.
And James has just called. Oh, the turn's another king, and now is Hobb going to get in trouble?
Well, knowing the way Hobb's luck is, there'll probably be a third king on the river.
Right. Hobb checks, and ace-king checks right behind him, and the river's a queen. Hobb checks again, and now ace-king is going to bet. And again, another reason why you might bet with trip kings there on the turn, Dave, is that you might get paid off by Hobb, but now on the river, another overcard comes.
Yeah.
And Hobb is not going to pay you off.
And you wonder if that's a tell by James. Hobb actually asked him how much, and James kind of just shrugged his shoulder. I don't know. And I say that could be a tell because you wonder, well, he doesn't know because he doesn't really care because he knows the money's coming back to him anyway.
Right. Button's going to move over here to seat 8. This is going to be the last hand of the night, folks, so join us tomorrow, again, for $25.50 unrestricted no-limit hold'em. A pretty eventful night here, Dave, so far.
Yeah, pretty good poker
kind of
here.
all kinds of talk in here. Taxes. No sushi talk tonight.
Yeah, you never know what's going to come up on Live at the Bike, folks. You don't want to miss a show. What kind of idiotic conversation you and I might start?
Francois going to raise here with deuce 4 of diamonds. He makes it, looks like 35 to go. And
he's going to get a call from Hobb. He's going to get a call from Edward.
Yep. Well, Hobbs in there with ace-8 suited. 3-way action here. Kevin is not in the hand.
Wow, you're going to be in there with deuce 4 suited. Look at that flop.
Flop.
Oh, my God. The flop is
monster
queen
flop.
5-3, folks, with 2 diamonds. Open-ended with a flush draw. Sorry.
Francois bets 100, and Hob is not going to play.
Wow.
Yeah, nice flop there for Francois. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Again, thank you for joining us. We stream live cash games every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 Pacific time. So for everyone in the booth, Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.